Welcome to Friday Action on America's Day at the Races, and our FS2 coverage is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Live action from South Ozone Park at Aqueduct. The A train, Far Rockaway, Andy and I. That's what we take to get here.
I love that shot of the A train.
We
had
shot.
one earlier. I was doing the prowls. They showed a train coming and a train going and a train in the distance on Far Rockaway. It's pretty cool.
Nothing like New York. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling with you on a Pick 6 carryover day, final leg of a huge early Pick 5 carryover. We're underway in the late Pick 5 here in New York. We got Oaklawn as well, Paula Duca live in Hot Springs. Interesting, and Hot Springs Edge to Edge ran a race last time out. If he can reproduce that, he might be one of the better sprinters in the country. We'll see if he can ever do it. And we have a 3-year-old filly here, Downtown Mischief, ran a great debut. Can she back it up?
That's really the question. Linda Rice's numbers, the horses that break their maidens in their debuts, they're not that good coming back. They've got to come back and run that race. But that one does look to have a lot of potential. And as far as the Pick 5 here, it just shows you get one horse that kind of blows it up, and the Pick 5s are paying outrageously well. A 3-5 won the first leg, and they're over 3 times pretty much what the Pick 4s are paying without that horse, that carryover. And people look and they don't get it, but those Pick 5s, so much value.
We're going to go straight to Oaklawn, almost immediately up on a race coming up. Their 4th race is next. Sun shining in Hot Springs, Arkansas, $12,000 maiden claiming sprint to kick off our live action. And 8-5, El Jamar equipment change just claimed for Carl Broberg. Blinkers going on. Let's check in with Paula Duca.
Well, happy weekend to you as well, Greg and Andy. Yeah, beautiful day here at Oaklawn. A little bit chilly. We're about, I would say, in the 50s, mid-40s or so. As soon as that sun goes down, we'll go to the 30s here in a little bit. Joel Rosario in town to ride some horses. He actually has a mount in this race, and you were looking forward to edge to edge. There's 3 scratches in that race, but CZ's Rocket, your runner-up in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, the oldster there for Peter Miller is still in. So a 4-horse field a little bit later on, but a competitive field. When you get to this race, it's kind of like muddled a little bit. And on the 8, Hal Ye, if you had that horse, he was originally in. He actually got scratched, I want to say, right before the post parade in the paddock. There was not much to go on the 8, but if you did have that horse, he was a late scratch. When you look at the board, it reads 6, 9, 1 in that order, the way they're betting them. I'm just concerned a little bit with the 6 in the fact that here's a horse that has had gait issues and launches from way, way out of it. Now, I know this horse has thrown up some very good numbers. They dropped the horse for 30, does Danny Pites, who's a very, very sharp trainer, and Carl Broberg, who's very sharp in his own way, claims this horse for $30,000. They put the blinkers on. You can tell, it wasn't the work on January 6th because he ran on January 13th. He comes back with a, race over, a work over a sloppy racetrack, doesn't show much. But my issue is you claim a horse for 30, and within a month you're already dropping to 12.5. So even if you win this race, you don't really get out on the horse unless you make a score on the gamble here. So I thought the 6 was a tiny bit vulnerable. The 9 Golden Bandit has been 2.5 to 1, 2 to 1 in a maiden special weight, $150,000 race, a $75,000 maiden special. Now we're dropping all the way to maiden 12.5, and it's just really hard to see that this horse is 2 to 1 in a co-favorite, a Brad Cox runner. You would think a Brad Cox runner dropping that far in class would be 3 to 5 or 2 to 5. So there's so many different, questions to be answered in here. King Doodle for Steve Asmussen and Keith, his son's riding. They took the blinkers off of him in 0 for 12. Sometimes, you worry about all these droppers and all these trainers and this and that. And Uncle Ray the 10th's kind of been the most consistent one. Hasn't been down to this level. And at 6 to 1, I'll take my shot. Listen, I understand that Brad Cox might win by a pole. I understand that the Diodoro might run off. I just can't take those 2 prices at 2 to 1 and a horse at 9 to 5 and Brad Cox that I thought would be, 3 to 5 or 4 to 5. So Uncle Ray for me or Kylie Jordan and D. Wayne Loy, who's actually had a couple decent prices on this meet, Gregor.
All right, Paulie, thanks. A lot more with Paul coming up throughout the afternoon. I mean, it's a big drop for the 9, obviously. It's Brad Cox, 75 maiden claiming to 12.5. It's a bad sign for the horse, but horse can run it all. Should probably get it done here.
I agree. Here's a stat. The trainer of the 6, Carl Broberg, off the claim with maidens on the dirt at Oaklawn, he's 2 for 39, 20-cent ROI. And he's the narrow second choice in this race, dropping off the claim. I'm not betting against the 6 and 9. I realize they're not particularly compelling horses, but have at it if you want against them. I just don't.
You got King Doodle as well for Asmus, and 0 for 12. His son riding here.
That horse is just not very good.
No, he's not.
We talked about it last time. Why was that horse a short price last time? But this is an easier field, to be fair. A lot easier.
See how it plays out. 4th race. 6 furlongs in this 12.5 maiden claiming group coming up. We're going to get to race 5 in New York. Sloppy going in South Ozone Park. They're about 15 minutes to post. We'll come back here next for the start of the late pick 4. And a slow load here. It looks like the 6, El Jamar, being a bit of a bad actor, finally steps in.
I heard that stat.
Yeah.
I heard that stat and said, I don't want to play.
Or he's going to prove you wrong. 3-2 favorite, Golden Bandit, the dropper for Brad Cox. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
They're at the post. They're off. Good start. King Doodle and Moon Over Dubai shows speed. Golden Bandit is into the bit, and there goes Golden Bandit to put his head in front. Uncle Ray goes with him, and those two sprint 4 lengths clear. Then King Doodle, El Jamar, and Moon Over Dubai with Pikachu and All in Good Time. Peripatetic is second to last, and the trailer is Mendelssohn Joy. Golden Bandit clears off now at the half-mile pole, and Golden Bandit traveling well. A 2-length lead on Uncle Ray. Here's El Jamar in the red to the outside in third and now within 2 lengths of the lead. Those 3 are 4 lengths in front of Peripatetic, King Doodle, and All in Good Time. Moon Over Dubai has 8 lengths to make up. He's 4 in front of Pikachu. Mendelssohn Joy has trailed throughout, and Golden Bandit is the one to beat. Golden Bandit at the quarter-mile marker is traveling along smartly and leads by 2 from Uncle Ray in second. King Doodle is put into gear, and he's in the center of the racetrack, 3.5 from the front in the white cap. Golden Bandit, Uncle Ray, and an on-rushing King Doodle. And you better take a look at King Doodle. He's got a chance to get there in the final strides. Golden Bandit, Uncle Ray, King Doodle to the outside. Now it's either Uncle Ray or Golden Bandit. Uncle Ray, Golden Bandit back to second. Uncle Ray, yes. Uncle Ray beat Golden Bandit. King Doodle was third. Mendelssohn Joy came from last to finish 4th.
Uncle Ray gets by Golden Bandit, who looked like he had this race wrapped up early stretch.
I agree. And he lost to the 0 for 10, Uncle Ray. But he didn't have fast enough figs to win, I guess. But he got it done at a 7-1. No excuse to Golden Bandit. I was confused because I was watching the race. I thought there might have been a different race going on than the one that was being announced. Because did King Doodle look dangerous to you at any point?
No.
He did hold on for third, to be fair.
10-9-1-4. Favorite defeated there. Looked like, wow, that was over and done. Not the case this game. Back here in New York.
Tough game. I don't know if you've noticed that.
A little bit. 3-year-old fillies in the feature, 6 furlong sprint. It's a New York bred allowance optional claiming group. We mentioned her briefly, top of the program. Downtown Mischief, going to take plenty of support off a debut in which it seems like she towers over this field.
Yeah, she was good that day. I'm not going to knock her. She beat an okay buff punch. She ran a decent fig. I just don't like that Linda Rice's 3 for 16 with an 83-cent ROI with horses off maiden wins in their debuts. She doesn't win that often with firsters. Now, the thinking would be they often need a race. They should be good when they win first time. They're not necessarily reproducing those efforts. She's still the horse to beat. I've got a bit of a goofy idea with the 5 security code who did not get the best of trips last time.
8-1 morning line there. So we'll see start number 2 for Downtown Mischief. Has that outside post team. Linda Rice, Jose Lescano, and Lady Sheila Stable will be the favorite. Meanwhile, Midtown Lights, Brad Cox, been in the money in 3 of 4 and was in stakes company last time out against New York Reds. And incredible second place effort against Le Bon Tom.
Yeah, I mean, It's hard to gauge because Le Bon Temps was coming off that big win that made the Mist, where he got an 80-plus buyer. Then he comes back to earth and runs around the low 60s where he'd run his prior races, and that fits in the wheelhouse of Midtown Lights. I tend to think this horse is not fast enough to win if Downtown Mischief runs her race, but maybe she'll improve a little bit. Maybe Downtown Mischief will take a step back. But they're 7-5 and not 5-2 in the morning line. I'd rather bet Downtown Mischief is 7-5 than this horse at 5-2. I at least am going to take a shot with a goofy horse at a price, who might just at the end of the race just be goofy.
That's our feature. That is the 7th 3-year-old fillies, 6-furlong sprint. 4:26 Eastern post time for that one. Let's see what we have coming up on today's program. We're going to jump around quickly with that live action coming right up out at Oaklawn. It's presented by Claiborne Farms, Sloppy here in New York, and the late Pick 4 is coming up next. We're about 11 minutes to post in the Pick 4. That 7th, we just talked about the feature. And then Oaklawn will have their entire late Pick 5. They are fast in Hot Springs. More coming up with Paulie throughout the program. As we get back here to New York, you can play all the action by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. That's the offer, that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus when you punch in match 200 at sign-up, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime at nairabets.com. Coming up next, the 5th 6-furlong sprint for maidens. Fabulously Funny had a tough go in her debut. Troubled trip, stumbled a little bit out of the gate, was taken back early in the race. Still was only beat a length. Rematch with Spell Torini, who finished just ahead of her, is coming up.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back with you on our FS2 coverage. America's Day at the Races, presented in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Our late Pick 4 in New York is next. 6-furlong sprint, maiden special weight. We're 8 minutes to post in a rematch between, she was a debuter last time out. Here she is, Fabulously Funny, and Spell Torini, who finished just ahead of her. Fabulously Funny, bit of a stumble out of the gate, and then was shuffled back a little bit in the race as well.
Yeah, if she runs the race she ran last time with a clean trip, she'll beat those horses. But it's a wet track. Her second start, you just never know.
Let's head downstairs. Welcome in for the first time today. Hi, Maggie. Maggie Wolfendale.
Hey, Greg. And it'll be interesting to see how the weather may affect the way the track begins to play, because it has stopped raining. Now, certainly not drying out conditions as the temperatures drop. Still a lot of humidity in the air, and it's a very gray sky. So we're listed as sloppy right now. But the last race was wired. It could have just been situational, but wired by a long shot. So a lot of times when the track does get rid of some of that moisture, the moisture stops coming down, it will kind of favor horses more forwardly placed. As we'll take a look, though, at number 7, Fabulously Funny for Tony Dutrow. Last time out, I thought was very professional and broke well, but then shuffled back towards the inside and weaved her way in through horses down the lane and nearly got the job done. I wasn't in the paddock that day for that debut, but I like what I'm seeing here for her second start. She's a robust girl, daughter of Practical Joke, looks as though she should be more forward. Like I said, she broke well in that first start, but I think she will be able to keep herself more involved given the fact that she's drawn to the outside. Very professional, really like what I'm seeing from her. If anything, I much prefer her over Spelterini, who just narrowly defeated her last time out and has had more chances. Number 1, I find interesting, Wonder Girl. It was beaten by a highly regarded Chad Brown-Klarovich horse and asset purchase. Did have her hind end knocked out from kind of underneath of her going around the turn, which can be somewhat detrimental. And these connections not necessarily known to win with first-time starters, but I like the looks of her here. She's got a great coat to her. She's very well defined, looks very fit for her second start. And with that experience, I think it could move her up, as we'll check out the Michael McCarthy first-time starter, Swanson Lake. Not much pedigree to go on other than being by constitution. Comes here, could look better in her coat, but as far as fitness levels, she looks as though she's run before. She's definitely well prepared for this debut, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. Yes, Swanson Lake making this race even more interesting here. Debuting, coming in from Michael McCarthy. Been training at Churchill Downs Training Center. Get involved without risking any of your own money. It's the Showdown Contest, free to play. You compete for real prizes, and hopefully you see your name at that leaderboard end of the program. NYRA.com/showdown to get involved. Here's Wonder Girl, Bob Glaceris.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't have the best of trips in her debut, and she lost to a horse that's pretty good, but I just don't know if she's good enough.
First timer went by, biggest price on the board at 26-1. Here's Swanson Lake.
Yeah, she's a little chilly on the board considering the connections are so live, though they did just win their first race in New York. Ships in here because there's no dirt racing in Kentucky.
Tap It Up will jump back up in class.
Probably not the right move.
Ran against 30 maiden claiming last out. Valentina, speed, and drop back in the debut.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you want to have her because you think she's speed, fine. But I think the Fabulously Funny will show more speed, and I just didn't think she was good enough.
Here is the one we've been talking about. Start number 2, Fabulously Funny for Tony Dutrow.
Yeah, if she handles the track and runs as well as she did first time, she's going to win. Yeah. Unless the 4 is really good.
Bill Mott, Spelterini, the one who finished just ahead of Fabulously Funny. This is start number 6 for her.
Yeah, Greg and I have a slight disagreement. This horse, as far as the trip last time, I thought this horse had a very good trip. You felt the horse had legit trouble at the start. She was a little bumped. I just watched it, but I'm going to say she had a pretty good trip overall.
9-5 favorite. A little surprising, isn't it, that she's the favorite here? With the upside, especially of the 7?
It is surprising that she's favored. I thought the 7 would be favored in this race. But listen, she was close. She finished ahead of her, and all people don't look at trips, fortunately.
All right, so this is the final leg of what was a $285,000 carryover in early Pick 5. That's incredibly rare on this circuit to have, first of all, any kind of carryover in a Pick 5.
Agreed. So the parlay right now is about $25.75. Let's say $90 onto that last winner. So you're about $13.50, about $1,500 somewhere in there, or a little less than $400 for 50 cents. And these Pick 5s are pretty generous overall. The one at the bottom is surprisingly low. But they're pretty generous. Good luck if you're alive. There was really only one particularly tough horse in the sequence.
You could follow along, get all the stats of the horses, trainers, jockeys in today's races with free Equibase past performances. Go to NYRA.com/TV schedule, download yours, and follow along in the program. 2 minutes to post here in the 5th. Pick 4 starts here. And we welcome in JK. Hi, Jonathan.
Dang, why'd you say you were mad to see me? I mean, I'm gonna do that next time I see. Greg Wolf's here. Anyways, I like the 4 Swanson Lake a little bit. I think Andy brings up a good point. A little bit chilly, but the 2 outside horses have races over the track, and I understand why they're taking the money they are. The 4 Swanson Lake, I've said it before on these airwaves and any airwaves I can get on, that I think Michael McCarthy does an outstanding job. I think he's without a doubt one of the best trainers in the country. I think he can train grass, he can train young horses, dirt, long, anything. And he's got great numbers with dirt fillies making their first start in sprints. In the last couple of years, he's 6 for 19, 32%, with a $3.33 ROI. His horses run well. And the fact that he ships his horse up here, it's not cheap to get a horse up here, especially for a maiden race. I think that's a little bit of a sign of confidence as well. So from a price standpoint, I'm going to pick the 4 Swanson Lake, but I do want to mention the 7 Fabulously Funny and the 8 Spelterini. I much prefer the 7 in this spot. I thought the 7 had a significantly worse trip. The 8 was in the clear, did lose some ground, but was in the clear all the way around there. The 7, Fabulously Funny, got shuffled after breaking a little bit slow down on the inside. The 8 kind of got the jump. I thought the 7 ran extremely well last time. If I was alive in this pick 5, I would want to be alive to the 4 and the 7.
Jonathan, thanks, too. I was just going for dramatic pause effect, JK. That's why I said it like that. 7 has become the favorite now at 9-5.
Well, I bet $10,000 that Jonathan would pick Swanson Lake from Michael McCarthy, so I won for the day. I took 1-5, but I cashed. Listen, if I was a little smarter, I'd have used the last winner as a C, and I'd be alive to 4 and 7, but I'm not smart enough to it, and I didn't do it. It would have cost me $4, so it was very clever. So the 2 didn't break that sharply, and she's going to get up there into the pocket. And you'll see her getting that position, and this is after not breaking that sharply. And she is going to, from this position where, what do you say, Greg? She's about a length at most, 3/4 of a length to a length behind the leaders. She's going to go from this position to about 5 lengths behind, simply because that horse in the pink silks, I guess that's the 3, is backing up into her face and just completely takes her out of the race. And the 5, who was doing the same amount of running and was a little behind her, is now 3+ lengths in front of her, yet she still makes another run to there, and that's after breaking a bit slowly. This is a very good effort by her. And I want to say Tony Dutrow is 2 or 3 wins away from, is it 2,000 career wins or 1,000? I think he was in that list of 2,000. Thank you. So he's going for that record, and maybe this horse can get him closer. But, once again, the problem is sometimes, Greg, they're cranked up to win first time, right? This horse was bet that day at 4-1, and sometimes they're cranked up first time, and you can't, even on a fast track, can't be confident they're going to run back to it. Sometimes the best horses to bet back second time are the ones that run kind of lousy and ran like they needed a race. Yeah. This horse didn't need a race. This horse was just unlucky.
See what happens here, start number 2, after getting that education with more on another runner in here maybe to consider. Showed some speed in the debut. Let's go to Maggie.
Well, truth be told, I'm pulling for my man, Tony Dutrow, to break through that milestone, but he's smarter than me, at least, as he's in Florida, I would have to assume, because the weather has drastically changed here. Like I said, down in the paddock, I'm wondering if the track's going to change, because now we've picked up a serious wind out here. They are running into a headwind down the backstretch with a tailwind as they come down the lane. But maybe that plays into the hands of number 6, Valentina. watch her at the gate. She was acting up at the gate first time out, hoping for more professionalism, but it did not persuade her not to break well, I should say, as she was very professional in the preliminary so far, and she looks good, and she's a very generous price for one that should be quick away. But I agree with Andy that number 7, Fabulously Funny, should be more forward this time around, Greg.
See if she can get a better break today. Obviously, a cleaner trip. She's going to be very tough to beat. 9-5, she is your favorite in this rematch with Spelterini. We'll see what this 4 can do in the debut for Michael McCarthy.
He doesn't have great numbers with firsters. He's a very good trainer, though, and always happy to see him do well.
Late pick 4 begins here. Here's a 3, first-timer, backing away.
Are we another weird result away from this thing double carrying over the pick 6 after that last winner? I think we are. That horse is a tough horse to have. Nah, you're probably right. 1.5 weird horses?
Maybe. 1.5.
1 2/3 weird horses?
There's Spelterini for Bill Mott in line. We're set for the pick 4. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Set. And they're off. Slow start for My Girl Jowl. Fast start for Fabulously Funny. At the rail there is Wonder Girl, and in between them is Valentina, who's going to take back to 3rd. Spelterini out in the center of the racetrack is in 4th. They're followed to the inside by Swanson Lake. Just having a check was Tap It Up as they bunched up in that second group. Risk Free is second to last, and the trailer, My Girl Jow. They move quickly up front, and on the front end, Wonder Girl has secured the front. It's Wonder Girl, who's clear, is now up by a neck. Gets tight here for Swanson Lake, and Manny Franco's trying to slip through at the rail. Spelterini is wide with Fabulously Funny. That's the leading 4. Tap It Up is looking for somewhere to go from the 5th spot, followed by Valentina, who's now 4 off the lead, risk-free. And the trailer, My Girl Jow, 23.73 for the opening quarter mile. Wonder Girl is still in front. Fabulously Funny. Will Swanson Lake find some room? Just had to check there at the rail and moves towards the outside. Battling onto the inside is Wonder Girl. Fabulously Funny still looking for that seam as Swanson Lake. Spelterini starts to stall in 3rd. Fabulously Funny has now taken the lead. It's Fabulously Funny. Spelterini is trying to make up some late ground here. It's all Fabulously Funny in front, is still a length clear. Spelterini risk-free, flying on late, but it's too late. Fabulously Funny gets the score. Fabulously Funny over Spelterini, then risk-free. And Wonder Girl in 1 minute, 13.39 seconds.
Fabulously Funny, second time, much cleaner trip, and now 1,999 career wins for Tony Dutrow.
You know, Maggie was ready, if this had been 2000, to fly down to Florida and go see Tony. He ran a couple horses at Gulfstream yesterday. As Maggie and Tony go back a long, long way. She broke, but we all talked about they're more professional the second time. She breaks more cleanly. She was in the game, and Spelterini ran just enough for people to lose out on the next time she runs. She really does not have that, you know, that with a nice horse. And, you know, and I kid about Maggie and Tony. They are good friends for a long time, and Tony and I have been friends for a while too, and thrilled to see him win any time, but excited to see him get close to 2,000 wins. A very, very good trainer who had fallen on some hard times, but he's been picking it up, and his horse has been running a lot better the last few years. This is a guy in 2015 won the Alabama, and he is one heck of a good trainer and a good guy as well.
Better get those signs ready.
We'll have
One
a sign
away.
for him. If we don't have a sign, Maggie will make one. We'll see the artistic side of Maggie.
7-8-2-1. Fabulously Funny, 9-5 favorite. Here to close out this carryover early pick 5 and to kick off the pick 4. Well, the prices for you when we come back. How about this on the program? We're going to talk to Tom Amos with a couple impressive 3-year-olds getting set to make their debuts. Curly Jack on the road to the Derby, and his super filly, Hoosier filly, lining up with a grade 2 Rachel Alexander. We'll visit with Tom in just a little bit.
Here comes Malatha, here comes Clariere on the outside, and it's got to be Clariere! Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. And Elite Power gets up to win the sprint. Outside, it's Malatha coming to the wire. Who's it going to be? Here's the wire. Oh, the wish has come true. That one's for you, Cody.
Who are you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie. McKenzie in a dominant performance.
300 won't do it. 300,000. 275, ED 275,000. 75, but to get 75, 275,000. 250, I'm Ralph now, 250,000. Able to get $200,000.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. This is how Andy drives. That's why actually you are not allowed to have a car anymore.
You know, do you know that I learned to drive from Taggart's in the city? They used to come when I was working downtown. They used to come pick me up downtown.
What is Taggers?
It was like the driving school.
Oh, okay.
The guy would come. It's the car. He's got the two. Right. He's got the two steering wheels.
I would not want to learn how to drive in New York City.
I figured if you learn. I actually helped me pass my driver's test, which in and of itself was kind of a miracle because I was not a favorite in betting in Vegas.
We got the 5th.
I was 33, by the way. I just want to point that out.
5th at Oaklawn, mile on the 16th. This starts the late pick 5, entry-level allowance. Here's Squillions, blinkers off.
Yeah, Squillions had a lot of chances, but does have those 4 wins. I didn't have in there, but just the better form out of town.
17-1, I believe that's the 2. Next story, it is Byzantine.
Byzantine looks a little bit slow for this field, thus the big price.
Second off at a long layoff, but you would need a lot better. Here's Chillaxification coming in from Remington.
I just wanted the story where this horse got that name. It's kind of a cool name, right? It's kind of cool.
Colster Charm at 9-1 with Tyler Bays.
Yeah, it's coming off an effort that back in November at Churchill that actually doesn't make the horse impossible here, and also could be somewhat forward.
6, I Feel the Need for speed.
Well, has not been able to recapture that form that led to a 4th-place finish in the fantasy last year off the claim.
Lady Commander at 4-1.
I thought she was speed on the outside and not impossible.
And even money here on this Keen Ice filly, Let's Duet.
She is the horse to beat. I will give you that. But she has an outside post, and she doesn't have much speed. And with the scratch of the 4, you've taken some of the speed out. So while I consider her the horse to beat, I don't know, man. You really want to take that short a price on her? Well, let me ask you a question. What do you think of the 7, Brittle and You?
Yeah, we skipped over that one major player.
That could be a good sign, you know? We could be hiding it.
We skipped over
the
this
horse
one.
wins. People at home are going to be saying we were trying to cold water them on that horse.
6-year-old mare.
Well, I mean, she's got some form. I'm curious what Paul thinks.
I'm with you.
I like that move from synthetic and Bob Hess almost never runs at Oaklawn. Do you know he hasn't run a horse since 2021? He's 0 for 4 in the last 5 years.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Earn a $15 bonus today by playing with Naira Bets. Bet 50 on Aqueduct and Oaklawn. You'll get that $15 in your account whether you win or lose. You do have to opt in, though. Go to NairaBets.com, opt in, and play today. The 6 looks really good warming up on the track. There's not a lot to like on paper. Let's go to Paulie, the man who just gave us a 9-1 shot back in the 4th at Oaklawn.
Yeah, Greg, race number 5, kind of confusing here because there is many chances in here. When you look at the form in here, you look at Squillions, a horse that's taken the blinkers off for Carl Burberg. He's a horse that launches from way out of it. Now, Let's Duet, the favorite in here, is a horse that launches from way out of it. So there is not a lot of speed in here, like Andy said. And we take you back to the replay of the paint of that race where, you know, Coastal Charm was right there kind of with Let's Duet down to the line. I mean, they finished pretty strong together. You know, Let's Duet has had a pattern where she's been racing constantly, and Coastal Charm, you know, is a little bit lightly raced. Now, she's gotten the better of her by 2 3/4, and then she just ripped her at the wire by a head. My thing is here, when you're getting 3 to 5 on the 9, and you're getting 10 to 1 on the 5. Now, I know the 5's coming off a long layoff, and the 9 might have the fitness, but Steve Hobby's pretty good coming off that kind of a layoff. So at 10 to 1 compared to 3 to 5, do I think the 9's the horse to beat? Most definitely, but at 3 to 5, I just think that's kind of a ridiculous price. You know, the 1 Squillions, like I said, the blinkers do come off. The blinkers haven't been off since a long time. I mean, on the turf when this horse was in California, but over a fast racetrack, this horse has not missed the board. So I think if Christian Torres, who now gets aboard and does have some very, very good wins aboard this horse, I think it's got a big shot. But, Jonathan, I can't take the short money on Let's Duet. I'll take a little shot with Coastal Charm in here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pick the 9, but I will give you another horse that I think is interesting. But when you look at it from a speed figure standpoint, the 9 is much faster than these other horses. So, yes, Andy's 100% right. This horse doesn't have a lot of speed, which can be very annoying when you have the best horse, because if someone gets comfortable and loose on the front end, then you're just kind of up against it. But to me, the 9 Let's Duet is just faster. Now, Let's Duet's gotten a couple of setups in the last few races as well. I just feel like they'll find a way to win this race. Begrudgingly, I'm going to pick the horse. The 7, Brittle and You, is another one who I like quite a bit in here. I think is at least interesting at that price. You look at the race 3 back, 4 back, 5 back, 6 back. Those dirt races can be competitive with the rest of the horses in here. Not if the 9 can figure it out, but competitive with the rest of the horses in here. Then you got a couple of, not dirty, but you got a couple of the synthetic races at Turfway Park that kind of make this horse maybe not look as attractive. I think Brittle and You is very interesting if you want to try to beat the favorite, but this is one of those favorites where we can talk about all the ways this horse can get beat, and he just runs by like they're tied to the 16th pole in the stretch.
All right, JK, thanks. 3 to 5 is, wow. I mean, that is incredibly short on Let's Do It, who, yes, is the filly to beat. You got to start looking elsewhere, don't you?
People have different ways. And listen, Jonathan is more comfortable taking shorter prices than you and I are. And that doesn't make him wrong and us right. It's just it's a different way of looking at it. I get it. He's not wrong. This horse's last 2 races are better than any of the recent races from anybody else. Pretty much whatever figures you're looking at. Having said that, I'm a little worried about this horse being a bit pace compromised and breaking from an outside post. So I thought the interesting horse was Brittle and You. I was distracted. Who did Paulie like?
Coastal Charm.
Okay.
The 5.
I don't think he's wrong. Why can't this horse have a chance off? It's not that long of a layoff. It's 3 months. I don't think that horse is impossible. And if you want to bet against the 9, you're going to get a very square price. Whether or not it's his value is another question.
Look, Coastal Charm, that step to 3 to 4 can improve, no question. And the last time we saw her, she just missed against Let's Duet. So there's upside there as well. But obviously, Let's Duet, that last race, I mean, she was 7 lengths clear, 3rd place finisher, making up a lot of ground. As you said, even more so than price-wise, and she's the one to beat, was where she's drawn in here that's makes it even tougher.
I agree.
With her running style.
Especially right. She could find herself shuffled a little bit farther back even than normal in there. Listen, I'm not against her. I just don't think she's a good bet at that price. And I'm going to bet a couple dollars on the number 7 in here, Brittle and You. I think it's a little interesting seeing her come in from Turfway, clearly looking for dirt. She does have some races that are good enough to give her a chance. And I took a small shot with her.
We all just need to chillax a bit on this show.
That's a great name.
That's the one who's probably going to be leading the way. Chillaxification. Can that Remington form translate with a 3?
It never does. Will he be able to chillax on the front end?
We will find out. I hope we get that call from
You think we
Christopher.
can be really idiotic and annoy everybody going on and on and on about this horse a little bit more? I know we can.
Big favorite. Let's Do It outside. Francisco Arrieta, Kenny McPeak. Odds on. There's the 9. Can Arrieta try and save some ground early with that first turn coming up pretty quick. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call. Late pick 5 from Hot Springs starts here.
They're at the post. They're off. Good start for Brittle and You and Coastal Charm. Chillaxification, Lady Commander in the center. Byzantine and Let's Do It are next. Then I Feel the Need, and the trailer is Squillions. Chillaxification and Coastal Charm at the clubhouse turn. Chillaxification, 3/4. Coastal Charm is second by a length and a half to a lineup of 3. Byzantine at the rail. Brittle and You between horses and a 3-wide Lady Commander. Those 5 have sprinted about 8 lengths clear of Let's Do It, and she's 2 lengths in front of the 2 trailers, I Feel the Need and Squillions. Up the backstretch they run, and the leader is Chillaxification. Chillaxification, a half length in front of Coastal Charm in second. Still that lineup of 3. Lady Commander 3 deep, Byzantine at the rail, and Brittle and You between horses. Those 5 are now a full 10 lengths clear of Let's Do It. She's joined by Squillions. Now I Feel the Need is the trailer, and the leader is still Chillaxification. They leave the backstretch. Chillaxification, a length in front of Coastal Charm in second. Byzantine is at the rail in third. Brittle and You between horses just put her head into third. Lady Commander, confidently handled by John Court. She's about to go from 5th, now up to be a joint 3rd. Let's Do It still has a long way to come. She is about 10 behind, now beginning to unwind for Arrieta. Let's Do It could be heard from right on the money. Coastal Charm, the leader at the top of the stretch. She's a length and 3/4 in front of both Brittle and You and Lady Commander. Chillaxification is baxed out. Let's Do It is now 5 lengths behind Coastal Charm. Final 16th to make up. It is Coastal Charm in front. Let's Do It has moved into second, but she's still 3.5 behind. Coastal Charm, Let's Do It catching, but running out of ground. Coastal Charm and Tyler Bays. Coastal Charm beat Let's Do It. Ritalin U was third. Lady Commander finished fourth.
Coastal Charm, 4-year-old filly in the rematch with Let's Duet. It's, in fact, the third time they have faced Let's Duet. Has got her both times. Turns the tables.
Well, she's forward, and the 9's coming from way back. And the 9, there was no sense of urgency with the rider of the 9, though frankly, it's not like she was flying to just miss. Of course she made a run at the end. She was going to do that. Tough to take a horse coming from that far back, but our man Paul LaDuca, I hope nobody's standing near him at Oaklawn, because he is on fire.
Figuratively and literally. 8. First
Good
of all,
going,
how
Paulie.
in the world, when this filly just missed by a head to Let's Duet last time out,
It's sometimes you
coming
think,
back goes off at 8-1.
Listen, I agree. We said it before the race. It's not as though we're redboarding here. You know, it's sometimes you feel like people just sort of hone in on a favorite, and the money is almost magnetically driven to that horse. And we're not saying she shouldn't have been 6-5, or even money, but 1-2. And when horses are 1-2 in 8-horse fields, everybody else is a big price.
And your winner should have been max 7-2, right?
4-1. She's certainly a little layoff, whatever. She's not supposed to be 8-1.
Yeah.
So, but we know one man who was smart enough to have it. Good call, Paul.
Well done, Paul LaDuca. Going to get back to New York when we return. Excellent timing. Current favorite has speed in his corner, and a rematch with majority partner to his inside coming up next.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, sire of Grade 1 winner Spiced Perfection.
And Spiced Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
Now with $12 million in progeny earnings and dominant performances from Don't Think, Just Do It.
Don't think, just do it. Burst away. Don't think, just do it. Wins.
As well as impressive newcomer Tiger Spice.
Not going to get to Tiger Spice.
Book before December 31st for a special discounted fee of just $4,000. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms.
Welcome back. You're watching America's Day at the Races with live racing from Oaklawn Park as well as Aqueduct, where it has turned in to a blustery day here in South Ozone Park, Queens, as we do have horses in the paddock for today's 6th race. It's a second level New York bred allowance race, and we do see favoritism going to Excellent Timing, who does cut back a little bit in distance, which that should help his chances, being that he is the likeliest speed horse in here. But he's a favorite that I can just never warm up to. For a Rob Atras horse, whom I usually like the appearances of his horses, he just never looks that good. So I'm going to take a look at both Alinda Rice's entries in here. And number 7, Majority Partner, he returns off of a 5-month layoff here for Linda. And before he went on that break, he was just thriving. You could see it. He literally kind of wore it on himself. He was so defined. His coat looked fantastic. He was really well muscled and strong. And he's just Not quite today. He just gives the impression that he's going to need a start to get things going again. I'm intrigued to see what he does here, but he's just a little bit more quiet. His little coat's a little bit dull. He's just a little soft. So I do like the other horse that Linda brings in off of a very short layoff in number 4, Silly K, whom I thought ran okay behind a runaway winner in Bold Journey in what was a very strung out field that day. And he ticks every box for a horse coming back on short rest and then some. His weight is fabulous, his coat is resplendent, and he is energetic. I mean, I'm sure his poor groom has a numb hand for as much as he's been pulling him around here. And I just think this is probably one of the more easier fields that he's going to face as of late. There's no Bold Journey or Today's Flavor to contend with, and I like Silly K. Moving on to a horse that is second off of a layoff, number 6, Listen to Your Heart. You know, it was a track back on January 21st where he wanted to be inside, and he was on the inside until the stretch, and then he switched out to the middle of the track, and you could see he just spun his wheels. Now, whether it was a track or I think more so the fact that he needed a race because he looked that way, and albeit he has run well off of layoffs in the past, he just looks so much more together this time around for his second start for the Ray Handlebarn as he opts to put on a shortcut cheater blinker, which I think is intriguing. I don't love the fact that we turn back. I've always thought that maybe a little bit more ground is better, but ultimately his form would suggest that he should be A-OK at this 6.5 for a long distance as we get it back up to the guys upstairs. Greg, Andy.
Hey, Maggie, thanks. So 2-1 favorite remains here. Excellent timing. Who's going to shorten up in distance and try and put that speed to use?
He's probably going to win here. Kendrick was never on the rail with this horse. The rail was the place to be, and Maggie had alluded, it was in my track trends as far as the 6 and your Listen to Your Heart. But he's run winning races. You could argue, though, that the horse to beat him is just pretty good. But Who That's Me actually was taken out of his game, and he still ran him down. I'm just getting a little tired of this horse not sealing the deal. He's still the horse to beat. I'm not against him. I took a small shot with the 7, majority partner who I don't trust. He was entered for a tag and a vet scratch
Bad
recently.
sign that he is 4-1, the 7, isn't it?
It is. He was entered for a tag and a vet scratch not that long ago.
I think
All
it was
of those
last.
are bad signs.
I believe
like
it was last week.
Week or two. Yeah, it's definitely in the last couple of weeks. None of those are good signs. His last race is good enough to win here, and he's not compromised because he can be forward in this race. I picked the 7-8. I'm not against the 8. I'm just tired of him.
You talked about with this horse right here, the horse that's just beat. Excellent timing. Pretty good horse. It is. Hoo That's Me. He finished ahead of Hoo That's Me. Big Engine, who just outdueled majority partner in that last start when he took that big move forward. Pretty nice horse as well. The fact that this horse is 4-1 on the board.
No,
bad sign.
I agree. And Linda Rice, the board's pretty smart with Linda Rice's horses. You know, especially layoff types. They just seem to know when Linda Rice horses get bet more heavily than you might expect, they usually run fairly well. And this horse is a little chilly on the board. I agree. Now we'll see. Will it change? I didn't look at the will pays to see if maybe it's going to get closer as we get closer to post. I'll take a quick look.
Not going to be the favorite.
But no, it was, well, I mean, the 8 speed. The 8 should be favored here, don't you think? Don't you? I mean, I never thought that the 6 or 7 would be favored over the 8.
Yeah, but
it's fairly close in doubles. It's an $8 double and an $11.90 double.
Okay.
So he's not that big, but we'll see where he goes on the board here. And it is sort of odd that Silly Key, the other Linda horse, is a shorter price because Silly Key has no chance to win this race based on the recent efforts.
He got a fairly big figure. He's a 6-year-old. Talking about the other Linda Rice horse, Silly Key. Big figure last time out, and that horse, the 4, returning in 7 days, which Linda Rice does often. She does it successfully.
And she does it well, yeah. But, I mean, he sucked up the rail in both his last 2 starts, and the rail was good in those races. I don't know what we're supposed to really like about him. He's not a bad horse. I don't see how he's supposed to beat. I don't see him beating excellent timing.
Yeah, it's surprising he's a shorter price right now than his stablemate. We're going to kick things off in the post parade here and there's the favorite. On his toes, this speedster. Here's Mass Marauder, so Carlos Martin off the claim.
Carlos Martin's going to go on that elusive quest to see if he can ever run back to that 96 figure he ran April Fool's Day. He was the true April Fool's joke. Now I finally figured it out.
He really was. Durkin's call, he actually had some issues out of the gate last start.
I am a big fan of Durkin's call, and I feel if there's a horse named for Tom, he should do more than have won 6 out of 50 starts, don't you
He
think?
was last early with that trouble out of the gate. I thought he ran okay last start. Tougher group.
He's okay. This is just a much tougher spot. He's a really neat horse.
Silly Key, we talked about. Stablemate of the other majority partner for Linda Rice.
Feels overbet. Just feels overbet. This horse, to me, is underbet. It's a big
9
price,
to 1.
right?
Riders Regret coming off a win.
It's a big win last time. I thought he ran a fast figure. I didn't think it was impossible off his last race.
Next door. Listen to Your Heart. Maggie was talking about. Blinkers Go On. Ray Handel.
Maggie felt that he looked like he would need a start. He is a horse that's always run his best races fresh. So you have to ask yourself, certainly we trust Maggie, so maybe he'll run better. And he is a horse that in the past has run well fast. Doesn't mean he had it last time.
Majority partner took a huge move forward his last start, but that was in late September. We haven't seen him since.
Yeah, I don't love the fact that he's not taking that much money. We'll see. I don't know. I took him with a sort of just as an alternative.
Speed of the field, shortening up from 7 to 6. Will that make a difference?
We'll find out. I mean, I don't think it matters. I think he's supposed to win. He got away with a slow pace last time. He should have won last time, but he's yours to beat.
4 minutes to post here in the 6th at Aqueduct. You can play it with Now Bets. Go to NowBets.com. Get that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus with that code match200, and you are good to go. Once again, NyraBets.com. Jonathan Kinchin, JK, I was just trying to prop you up more last time with the pause.
I know. I was just looking for a compliment. I wanted you to be nicer to me. So I thought if I acted like my feelings were hurt, that you would come back and be nicer, and it worked. So, good for me. I like the 8. Excellent timing. And for a lot of reasons. I love speed horses drawn outside, especially on racetracks that are sloppy. Basically on any racetrack. I don't know why I'm lying about it being sloppy. That's just part of it. If you look at this horse's last 4 races for Rob Atras, let's start in Saratoga, going 7 furlongs in the mud. You could kind of give this horse an excuse. Maybe he needed it. Maybe the 7 was too long. Then they cut back to the 6 furlongs and go extremely fast early. I'll give an excuse for that one. Then they come back, try the 7 again, slow pace. I hate when speed horses get rated, and then you come back again with the 7 last time. And it just makes me feel, if you look at the pace figures, that maybe just a little bit shorter is going to be better for excellent timing. So you take into account, in my opinion, all of the last 4 races, there's been at least some sort of an excuse. And yeah, maybe you're getting tired of hearing the excuses. I feel like now drawn towards the outside, getting the 6.5 instead of the 7, and hopefully Manny will be aggressive away from there. I think this is excellent timing's time to finally get the picture taken, because it's been quite some time. If you don't like this horse, I think it's one of those situations where you'd have to use a lot to really feel like you're getting this thing covered. And that's why, for me, I ultimately just went with singling the 8. Excellent timing on the pick 6 that is no longer with us. But maybe Maggie has something a little bit more interesting to say with the 5, Riders Regret.
I do, because excellent timing, he's against my racetrack religion. I can't stand the way he looks, and especially for a trainer whose horses tend to look good. So I get it. He can win. But I love the appearance of Silly K. That price is way too short. I also love the appearance of Riders Regret, and even more so out on the racetrack. He is warming up beautifully beneath apprentice rider Jaime Torres. As Andy pointed out, his last race was good. He projects to sit the right kind of trip where he has enough early speed to keep him in contention. I think he lets excellent timing clear, and he posts up stalking. At least you hope that's what happens. But this is a horse that's 3rd off of a layout that's heading in the right direction. When he first came back, he got really hot. He just didn't look quite as fit, but he still ran a really good race. And then he took another step forward last time. He's taken another step forward yet again, where he was calm, well-behaved, but still keen and focused enough. And physically, this is one of the best times I've ever seen Riders Regret look. So I'm going to take the 7-1 on him. But like I said, Silly K comes in here. Linda's adept at doing this with these short turnarounds, and he does look tremendous for doing so. Greg?
He's 7-2 on the board right now. The 4, the other Linda Rice runner, taking more money still than majority partner.
That is very strange. Is that a big positive for Silly K and a big negative for majority partner?
Bit of both, isn't it?
Yeah, Yeah, it feels like a bit of both. I would answer that the same.
And she did not like the appearance of the favorite, huh? Excellent timing.
Yeah, that's weird. That's good to know. It's good information. Maggie's negatives have been. Listen, it doesn't mean the horse can't win, but Maggie's negatives in the past have been very, very good, especially when they're with favorites.
Let's see what happens here in the 6.5 furlong sprint. 3-2 favorite Manny Franco. Rob Atras on the one to catch on the front end. Let's send it upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
Three out. Listen to your heart. Majority partner. Excellent timing. All in line. All set. And they're off. Excellent timing broke with early speed up on the far outside. Then Listen to Your Heart is going to be in that early mix. And Riders Regret. That's the leading trio. Taken well off the pace now is Silly Key. Broke on top, but is losing ground. Is 6 lengths off the leaders. Majority partner in the light blue silks is out in the center of the racetrack. Is progressing. Is ready to challenge for second as they sort themselves out. Towards the back end of the field is Durkin's Call, who's now in 5th. Then Mass Marauder up on the outside and all the way back to the trailer, Silly Key, as they move towards that far turn. 22-4 for the opening quarter mile. It's Excellent Timing alone up front. Excellent Timing is up by a full length. Majority Partner is right there to the outside in second. Listen to Your Heart has now taken third. Riders Regret starts to lose some ground from the back. Mass Marauders trying to rally on Durkin's Call, and Silly Key just not in it this afternoon. Is 10 lengths off the lead right now with a quarter mile left to go. It is Excellent Timing as they turn for home. Excellent Timing is now up by a length and a half. Right up on the outside is Majority Partner. Listen to Your Heart is up on the grandstand side, is making up some big ground late. They've got a furlong left to go. Excellent Timing. Here comes the run from Majority Partner and Listen to Your Heart. Silly Key is starting to take to the task now. They approach the 16th pole. It is Listen to Your Heart. Silly Key looked done on the backstretch, but is making up ground in between horses. Majority Partner. Majority Partner guts it out. Majority Partner over Silly Key, who really rallied on to get second over Listen to Your Heart in 1 minute 19.54 seconds.
Majority Partner was extremely cold on the board for some reason, despite the last time we saw him. He ran a race that probably should have made him the favorite.
And it's really bizarre in watching it because you and I were commenting as they were going to the turn, I guess the board was wrong. But then he kind of made his move, and it looked like the horse to the outside. Listen to Your Heart was going by him.
Yeah, he looked
done. And he re-rallied between horses, and I'm going to tell you, I will guarantee you there are a number of people that bet the number 4 Silly Key that don't have the nicest things to say about Eric Cancel right now. And I'm not trying to knock Eric. But that horse broke on top. And this horse dropped out into no man's land and came running at the end to just miss. And I'm not knocking Eric, but as horse players, we tend to go, what happened? The horse dropped so far out of it, but maybe he wouldn't have made that run if he didn't. He did run today, and Linda Rice runs 1-2.
7-4-6-2. Yeah, Linda Rice exacta over 7-2, 4-1.
Let's give a little credit to Maggie. I mean, you want to go in the air and say, I don't like a 7-5 shot. Even money this horse went on. This horse didn't hit the board and had everything his own way.
We're going to preview Saturday's Heavenly Prize when we come back. Falconet got the best of Battle Bling when they met in the ladies on New Year's Day. It's a rematch coming up tomorrow. We'll have a preview ahead right after this.
Would you believe that champions weren't measured by rings, but by a crown? That the history books were written on dirt? That the greatest of all time was a horse.
He is moving like a tremendous machine.
Experience the magic at this year's Belmont Stakes as we honor the 50th anniversary of Secretariat's legendary Triple Crown Triumph. Join the celebration at Belmont Park on Saturday, June 10th. Tickets on sale now at belmontstakes.com.
Every hair, every muscle, every contour, every pulse. In the juvenile.
Essential quality has won.
In the Belmont.
Essential quality has won the Belmont Stakes.
Well named.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage as we're at Hot Springs, Arkansas. 6 at Oaklawn's coming up. Started their late pick 4, $40,000 claiming race, 2-turn mile. And here's the one who inherits the rail, Joel Rosario, showing up in Hot Springs for John Ortiz here.
Joel has not exactly been lighting him up down at Gulfstream. He comes there. Don't know if he's riding beyond here and tomorrow. This one, this would be some job by Joel. 3-1? Based on what?
Turf form?
Which is 3-1.
I'm with you.
If Joel was riding a good horse, he'd be 1-9.
8-1 Windcracker went by. Here's the 4 Silk Trade.
This horse looks like speed, but he's got to get the distance, but he should be in front.
Shadow Matter. Steve Asmussen off the claim. His son Keith rides.
And Steve has had this horse in the past as he's been claimed in his last 4 starts, actually, and 5 of his last 6.
Named after Paulie, the way he's going right now. Mojo Man.
Well, he has that mojo working. It's not working for me. I didn't like this horse. He didn't look like a player to me.
10-time winner. He is stretching out. Robertino Diodoro, Red Knobs.
I mean, he's the horse to beat for Diodoro, right? I mean, he's 3-2. He just looks like the fastest horse right now, especially his last race.
He won for 42 back at Churchill Downs. Here's the 9th Silver Dust. Cool horse. Love his color.
Nice price on a horse who's dropping down here.
Major back class for Silver Dust. 9-year-old now who's still hanging around the racetrack. He's a millionaire. As we head back to New York, majority partner. Maybe the public scared away with his fact that the horse was a vet scratch pretty recently.
I don't know. I picked him, and I got no love from you, Greg. I'm a little mad at you. I'm not speaking to you right now.
Well done, Andy.
Okay, I feel better.
Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, I do. I feel bad. I perked right up. It is weird. You know, it's hard to know what to do in those situations. And honestly, I didn't love him. I picked him because I didn't want to pick the 8. Because the 8's had his chances to win, and I wanted to pick against him. He ran well to get it done. It's a hard race because the race really did fall apart at the end. And you got to give him credit. He was chasing the whole way, and he still got it out at the end. He doesn't run that often, and I'm sure he's got a share of issues, but this guy's pretty good. It's a great claim by Linda, by the way, right? What did she claim this horse for? $40,000.
And wins off the layoff as
100,000.
well. Pick 6 carryover, follow along, $231,000 in that pool. We got a $32 horse, Irish Exit.
See, about a $1,400 to $1,500 parlay. You put that horse in there. You know, I guess it's going to depend on the last two.
Race is tough.
Listen, I thought there were 3 horses, the 1, 8, and 12. I preferred the 12, but it's not like any of them are any good. One of them's a first-time starter that you couldn't see a blow-up in here. I'll tell you what's crazy, that the 5 and 9 are the same price. I am live in the double with a 5, in case you're worried.
Back to Oaklawn. 40 claimer, 2-turn mile coming up. Let's go to Paulie for more.
Thanks, Greg. And, you know, this race right here is getting dominated in at least the wagering by the 8 horse in here, Red Knobs. And when you look at the body of this field, you have a lot of horses that maybe are 8, 9, 6 or so. And, you know, his last race that he ran was his first start as a 4-year-old. And, you know, it was his best effort. Your worry's going to be, is he going to back up from that effort? And I think that if he does, he's capable of still winning this race. You look at a lot of these other horses. You have the 9 Silver Dust at 9 years old. You know, you have another horse like a Mojo Man at 8 years old. I just think that Red Knobs has got tremendous, at least upside. Now, when it comes to the 2 in here, 2x2, I just think this horse is getting kind of played because Joel Rosario's in the saddle. I get this horse got claimed from 6250 from the Ian Wilkes barn, then the Michael Maker barn, but his best races have been on turf. I don't know where he lays in here, but I just thought the 8 was going to be really, really tough. And the reason why is when I look at the board, you know, the 4 Silk Trade looks to be the pace in here. This horse hasn't been around 2 turns since last time, and that was over a sloppy racetrack and did not run well. So I won't, you know, hold that against him because he's going to be on a dry track. But Norm Cassie is 53% at this meet. If this horse was live and going straight to the front end, I don't think you would be getting 4-1 or so, or 5-1 as you're getting right now. And the more and more I look at this race, it's just really hard for me to get by Red Knobs because, Greg, I just think he's got the most potential and he can keep on moving forward against the rest of this group.
Paulie, thanks. Yeah, he looks like he's going to be very tough here. 9-5 Red Knobs. That is pretty amazing. Paulie brought up Norm Cassie. When's the last time at a major meet you've seen someone 53%?
Norm is my friend, and I hope he continues to win at a crazy thing, but the concept of a regression to the mean is probably not going to be that friendly to Norm. But I would say in Norm's defense, and listen, Norm's a good friend. I love seeing him win. He's a good trainer. And, you know, people may not realize is when Norm was an assistant to his father, it was probably as good a period the barn had as any period they've ever had. And I think Norm deserves a lot of credit for that. But even Norm would agree with this. You're not going to have that kind of success at that kind of level. You can't keep it up. And it don't matter
53%.
Yeah.
Of course not.
And you're going to have
but
a regression
he deserves
to the mean.
credit for what he's done
He
at this
does.
point.
Well, the other thing I would say that's even more credit to him is, I know we're now, what, two months or so into the meet? Norm sent the right horses to Oaklawn. He didn't send a lot of horses to Oaklawn, but the ones he sent were the right ones, and they showed up. And I think one of the hardest things to do, because he's probably got more horses at fairgrounds, would be my guess. One of the hardest things to do is to get the right horses there. You know, you got to find the ones that are going to fit the conditions and then get them to run well. And Norm not only got them ready to win, he sent the right horses there. And that's not an easy thing to do. A lot of guys try, very few succeed.
This one for Norm Cassie, the 4 Silk Trade, dropping in class 9-2. You know, considering that win rate, this one a little cold on the board, I would say.
I don't know. He's a little tough to make, and he's got to get a mile. I mean, you're talking about a horse that chased at 6 furlongs and now stretches to a mile. And the other thing is, I'm not saying he can't win. I don't think he's that cold, is that Red Knobs, the horse he absolutely has to beat, is not pace compromised. Yeah. He's going to be sitting right near him. So it's not like he has some sort of pace advantage over a horse who's probably just better and more suited to the distance.
Christian Torres for Diodoro. JK, that's the favorite, 3-2 on the 8.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why the horse is taking money. It's, you know, Diodoro takes money at Oaklawn Park because he wins a lot of races there. Remember, we talked about that cold streak he had, but he's still 26%. So he had a really nasty cold streak, and he's still 26%. It just kind of lets you know how many races and how often he wins there. I thought the 5 Shadow Matter was a little bit interesting. A horse who's been claimed 5 out of his last 6 starts. I've always found that to be kind of interesting. You know, especially when being trained by capable trainers, Steve Asmussen, Diodoro, Joe Sharp, Asmussen claims back. It makes me kind of feel like that there's something there that these guys want to make sure that they have in their barn. And so that's why it kind of drew me to Shadow Matter. I understand why the favorite is the favorite. I think the favorite's extremely live. But I'm going to take a shot here with the 5 Shadow Matter on the claim back from Steve Asmussen.
Yeah, this horse has gone from Dallas Stewart had him. Robertino Diodoro had him. Asmussen reclaims, as he said, Joe Sharp. Some pretty good barns like this horse.
Do you think they get confused? It's like a new home every week.
And has, well, I can't say performed every step of the way where he's gone, but we'll see if Asmussen can move him back up.
Not knocking a price. Jonathan likes 11-1. I respect that.
Another,
I like the. It's reversed.
Another
I like the favorite here.
Another sprint. We talked about the 4, who's primarily a sprinter. Shadow Matter 2, primarily a sprinter, trying to stretch out and get it done.
But not as fast as Silk Trade, so that's a problem.
3-2. Red Knobs the 8 for the Diodora Barn. The 1 to beat. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Mojo Man is asked for speed, so is Silk Trade. Shadow Matters close up. Red Knobs had to tap on the brakes as Silver Dust beat him to a spot. Then Windcracker in the early trailer is 2x2. Mojo Man wanted that lead, and he's got it, and he sprints clear. Mojo Man 2.5 lengths in front of Silk Trade and Silver Dust to the outside. Then it's another 2 to Shadow Matter and Red Knobs. They're about 4 from the front and 5 in front of Windcracker, who's 2.5 in front of 2x2. To the backstretch they run. Finish line is the 16th pole, and Mojo Man with a closer Silk Trade in second. Mojo Man 3/4 of a length. Silk Trade is traveling well for Santana. He's second 1.25 lengths to the millionaire Silver Dust. Red Knobs is about to try to split horses and beat Shadow Matter into the far turn. Aggressive move here by Torres on Red Knobs within 2 of the lead. 4 back to Windcracker. 2x2 has trailed throughout. Mojo Man has led throughout. Mojo Man, a 3 wide Silver Dust, and between horses Silk Trade. Red Knobs is now back on the outside, and he's within 2 of the lead with some forward momentum. Shadow Matter has dropped out. Windcracker and 2x2 were never in it. Top of the stretch, Silk Trade, Silver Dust to the outside, and Red Knobs. He's still 2 from the front. Gotta go from there. Mojo Man is next. Top of the stretch, and Silk Trade leads. Silver Dust alongside in second. Red Knobs now within 1.75 lengths. Silk Trade, Red Knobs is coming after him now. Silk Trade still 2 in front. Red Knobs, Silver Dust, Silk Trades, Red Knobs, Silver Dust, Silk Trade in front. Silk Trade beat Red Knobs. Silver Dust was 3rd, and finishing 4th was Mojo Man.
Norm Cassie does it again. Silk Trade stretching back out, and now a 4-time winner from 13 starts.
No regression of the mean here for Silk Trade. I think one of the most incredible things about his win is he didn't wire the field. The long shot Mojo Man went for the lead, and he sat behind that one. I would not have given a nickel for this worst rating. And I'll tell you something, Red Knobs did not run well. I know he finished second. He had a perfect trip in here. He was not good.
Winner bet down late, too. Goes off at 5-2. He was 4-1 just about a minute or 2 before post. We're going to get you back to New York when we return. Feature coming up, Downtown Mischief. There she is. She ran very good in her debut. Dominant, winning by more than 7 lengths. Now comes a much tougher test. First time in against winners in the Friday feature on America's Day at the Races.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the immortal Secretariat. A 6-time graded stakes winner from ages 2 to 4, and the fastest 3-year-old of his crop over 10 furlongs.
He's so impressive today, the others didn't even have a prayer. Catholic Boy rolls in the run. Happy Travers.
Dual surface Grade 1 winner Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races, and one of the great things to see in New York, the Staten Island Ferry.
You ever take it?
I have. I actually love it.
Yeah, it's fun to take. Yeah,
What's that thing in the background?
I don't know. Somebody gave it to us, so we just left it there. You know, it's good to have friends sometimes.
You
not
get
always.
one of the great views of Statue of Liberty. You take
Best.
this Staten Island Ferry, so must take trip.
Have you ever gone to Ellis Island?
No, I've not.
Very good, like touristy. Seems like a tourist. It's great to go there. It's really interesting.
Heavenly Prize we have coming up early on the card tomorrow. It's race 3, 1-turn mile, and talked about Falconet Battle Bling, rematch of when they met on New Year's Day.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Greg, but I've been waiting for this, the big rematch. I don't know about you. I actually thought that you could make an argument the Battle Ring ran every bit as well, and every bit as well, I should say, as the winner of this race. I thought she got shuffled out of position at a very key moment right here in the race, which is why I wanted to show more of the replay. Here's when the race is developing, and I'm not blaming the rider. He's got kind of caught into an unlucky spot, and I think he has a chance to upset him. But the question is, are you interested in the new shooters?
Lot to like with Falconet coming back here. 3 for 7. In fact, first or second, 6 of those 7 starts.
She is also the controlling speed here, right? I mean, it's hard not to see her in front, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Especially in the outside position. You know, I picked Battle Bling over her. I'm also not sure the others don't have a shot. Both the 1 and 3.
And we're going to look at Frost Point for Bill Mott, who has the rail. Jorge Vargas Jr. coming off a win, off a fairly lengthy layoff. And 5-year-old Marina, we'll see if she can take a step forward here off the bench. Second off the bench, I should say. Is she in the, with that race we saw from her last time out, is she in the mix with these other two?
I thought she had to improve. And I thought from a gambling standpoint, she'd have to get better to win this race. And I just don't know that her odds will be commensurate. It's always a question what the prices are. To me, she's going to have to improve. And the only best thing she was going for is a barn that can do no wrong. What about my Mama's Got to Run?
Interesting runner. Linda Rice, of course. Talk more about that race tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah, I think has
I'll be
a
here
shot.
with you.
Former Tom Amos horse, by the way. Here's the one to beat in this race coming up, our Friday feature, Downtown Mischief. 7-5 favorite. Let's go to Maggie.
Thanks, Greg. And we'll check in with Downtown Mischief, who is just a tank of a filly. Now, first time out, I remember being very intrigued by her, but she did look like that typical Linda Rice first-time starter that just looked a little soft around the edges, that she was going to race into fitness. Well, she won, and she won emphatically. So she comes in here looking that much more fit. I think this is a real quality filly, and this is a favorite that I am on board with here, and I really like what I'm seeing from her. As we'll move on to Security Code, who I actually picked last time in the Franklin Square, and I remember being kind of annoyed by the trip that she had as she broke well. She was up close, then she started losing ground around the turn, which I have a feeling that she may have been trying to get out, because she comes into here today, and I'll be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure what bit she had on last time, but I usually mark it down if they are wearing a Houghton bit, or cage bit, which is for horses that do have the propensity to lug in or out, and she's wearing one today. I still like what I'm seeing from her, much the same as what I did back on January 22nd. So she's interesting, and maybe the new equipment will provide a little bit more leverage to Jose Gomez. Number 7, Midtown Lights here for Brad Cox. You know, she was sent hard to kind of get to the front end, then she kind of got shuffled back in the turn and switched out and ran on again. So I think despite running a slower figure last time, she ran okay in that New York Stallion Series race. She's not necessarily my type of filly, because she's one too that is just a little bit on the nervous side, and furthermore her last 2 efforts have come on wet tracks. Now she gets it here, so it's a good sign for her, but she is your true kind of wet track physical prototype. But like I said, I just much prefer Downtown Mischief, and even Security Code for that matter, Greg.
Public would agree. I thought a lot to like with Downtown Mischief. Even money right now. We'll see if she can reproduce it. Start number 2. It's always a big question when they win impressively for the level. if they can come right back and do it again against winners.
Yeah, no, it is. Now, she draws well towards the outside. And she's a very logical horse. I'm not against her. It feels like she's probably going to be saying the pace. We'll see how quick the pace is. I picked against her because I think the 5 is an interesting horse that had sort of a ridiculous trip in her last start, but I'm just not sure she's good enough. She may never have really progressed off that good Saratoga form, and it's definitely the 9's horse. She's the horse to beat Downtown Mischief.
Real quick, back at Oaklawn, 3 declared a non-starter. That was why there was an inquiry. Finished 4-8-9-6 for those that did go with that long shot. Post-parade here coming up for our Friday feature. And we're going to see Lockbox to kick things off. Frankie Pennington rides, gets Lasix.
Yeah, I mean, to me, she's sort of a fringe player at best. She does get Lasix.
21-1, bigger price. Next store on this one here, Pretty Miss Keen's for George Weaver.
Yeah, I mean, she beat a very weak field last time. She's overmatched.
Queen's Masterpiece won the debut with a slow figure for James Bond.
Ditto. I have no idea why she's 8-1 in this race. I mean, she'd have to improve with leaps and bounds to be competitive here. She's a third of the price of the 1, and the 1's a more likely winner.
It's only started once, though. Security Code, 4-1.
Yeah, I took a shot with Security Code. She's drifting up. She opened very short, but she figures to keep going up in odds.
Mike Maker, Jorge Vargas Jr. rides on Vax at 18-1.
She was on a gold rail last time out, which I think really helped her chances.
5-2 Midtown Lights. It's trainer Brad Cox. Manny Franco rides coming out of a New York bred stake.
You're going to have to hope she takes a step forward. Not impossible, but she needs to.
My Sweet Kaylee won the debut at Parks in the slop and then struggled in a stake at Parks.
She's going to struggle even more mightily in this race.
And the one to beat, she's odds on now, 4-5 off that big debut, Downtown Mischief.
Yeah, listen, I'm not against her. I think 4-5 is a little tough pill to swallow. These horses that run big first time will always get bet heavily in their second starts, but her race is fast enough to beat these. And if she can repeat it, then she's going to be tough. But Linda's horses, that do not have great numbers coming back. She's great second-time stars that lose their first race, not great second-time stars that win their first race. Just some food for thought.
3 for 16.
It's not a big sample size.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the debut and what everyone seems to like about it. When you win by 7+ lengths, there's a lot to like. And at this point, kind of says adios to the field.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad field she was running against, and she just absolutely smashed them. Legitimate number. It got a 77 buyer. Timeform US didn't like it as much. They were not quite as bullish, but still have her the horse to beat.
Runs away from the car and did it sitting close, right off the leaders early, so it's not going to have to work out a trip, can be involved early on. You love the fact she's drawn outside. A lot of positives.
Yeah, there are, but the concern is the pace could be hotter in this race than it was last time. And that's a real concern because there is enough speed with horses like Vax and some others that they could move a little bit in this race. Lockbox could try to go from the inside. Pretty Miss Keen's could try to go. So we'll see if the pace gets a little hotter in here. It doesn't usually happen, but it could.
So odds on here, Downtown Mischief. Meanwhile, Brad Cox with Midtown Lights, the 7 in here, much more experienced, and 3-year-old debut coming up off that maiden score in the slop at Aqueduct. Followed it up in a muddy track, that New York Stallion Series, with a runner-up finish.
She's bad luck for us because every time she's out on the dirt, it seems to rain. And she's run okay in those races. From a speed figure standpoint, though, she's slower than the favorite. And that's why she's a second choice. You're almost trusting in Brad Cox. And I know she ran second in a big purse race, but you could argue it wasn't that strong a field. The third horse did come back and improve the buyer figure 40 points. Now, the winner of the race had won the May of the Mist with a buyer figure of 18 points higher the race before that. So maybe the last race a little better than it looks.
3-5 now. Downtown Mischief. Let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, I'm having trouble seeing past her as she's your heavy favorite, but if you want to try to create some value underneath, maybe you include a long shot. And a long shot that my eye just kept going back to in the paddock, out on the track, is number 2, Pretty Miss Keen's. She does not look appealing whatsoever on paper, and I get that. So I'm kind of reaching here a little bit, but talk about a filly that, it looked like her first 3 sloppy track efforts, and that's all she seems to get in her career, that she didn't like the surface. But And yeah, she was just better than the rest last time out. But she warmed up really well over the track today, framed herself up well, and Jaime Torres gave her a brisk warm up. So indicating that they will likely try to get her out of the gate running. And that would really be her only option here if she wants any chance of getting a piece of this, is to be forward. Like I said, Greg, just a long shot that caught my eye in the face of a 3-5 shot, as Downtown Mischief, much the horse to beat.
She is. Waters get deeper, obviously, but showed that talent. It's a blessing and a curse when you win early like that, because you move right through and get tougher company, but looks like she might have some real talent.
She might, but 3-5 is ridiculous. I'm sorry. Second-time starter, they don't have to go the right way going forward, and you're just assuming that she's just going to keep winning, and I think Security Code is a reasonable alternative. I'm alive at the double to 5, and I bet a 9-5 exacta. But I think that the 5 is a reasonable enough alternative, a much bigger price than the double. The horse is like 12 to 1 in the double. And to me, 3-5 in Downtown Mischief is a tough pill to swallow.
See if she can continue to move forward here and start number 2, 1-2.
I just feel like you want a horse that has a proven record to be taking these kind of short prices. She's run once, and she didn't run a 90 buyer against a bunch of horses running 60. She ran a fast enough figure, but she didn't overwhelm them that much. I think she's overbet. While still being the horse to beat, but overbet.
Would you say much the horse to beat, though?
No.
No. Okay. Board does.
Yes, they do, and I'm frequently wrong. And once again, I picked her second. I'm not going to be surprised at all when she wins. She's the likeliest winner. She's also 7-5 morning line, and she's 1-2.
See how it plays out. Can Downtown Mischief back up that big debut here against this group? We will find out. Chris Griffin, our Friday feature from Aqueduct.
Downtown Mischief. Downtown Mischief rears up. Now moves in. And backs away. Got right up to the gate there and hesitated. Now in. All in line. All set. And they're off. Broken a pretty even line. Lockboxes asked for speed, so is Pretty Miss Keenes, and they pace duel early here. It's Pretty Miss Keenes and Lockbox, they're 1-2, and they ensure a fast pace. Up on the outside, here comes Downtown Mischief. It's going to stalk off of them as they're very tightly bunched. Backing out of there was My Sweet Kaylee, just had to check in behind Downtown Mischief, who took the third position away. Security Code is at the rail taken fourth. Vax with nowhere to go in between horses. Same goes for Midtown Lights, still tightly bunched into the far turn. The trailer is Queen's Masterpiece, but only 3.5 off the lead. Pretty Miss Keenes on the front end, 23.28 for that pressured opening quarter mile. The big favorite, Downtown Mischief, is looming up on the outside from second. Midtown Lights is launching a rally, and the lime green cap is 3 wide. Losing ground to the inside is Lockbox. Queen's Masterpiece and Security Code is now in the clear. Downtown Mischief has got plenty right now, and now gets the cue from Jose Lezcano, and Downtown Mischief is up by 2. Chasing his Midtown Lights there from second as they approach the final eighth. It's Downtown Mischief who's trying to put away Midtown Lights, who's not done yet, is trying to re-rally up on the outside. Downtown Mischief, Midtown Lights, far back to third. Downtown Mischief is clear. Downtown Mischief now 2 for 2 in her career. It's Downtown Mischief over Midtown Lights. Security Code runs on with Queen's Masterpiece in 1 minute 13.06 seconds.
Downtown Mischief, nice start to her career. 2 starts, 2 wins. Lady Sheila stable into race.
Kind of acted up before the start, didn't break as sharply. Fortunately for her, the 1 and 2 went on a mission to setting a pretty strong pace in here. She looked like she's going to be a more comfortable winner. You got to give a lot of credit to Midtown Lights. She not only never gave up, she continued to run after her. I wonder if, I think that Downtown Mischief ran a race. I think that Midtown Lights improved here, Greg, because they finished well ahead of the other horses, including my selection, who finished a distant third, the number 5 Security Code.
I would agree. Midtown Lights, did make an improvement here in her 3-year-old debut, but Not enough here to get this one. Downtown Mischief with Jose Lezcano aboard. 3-5 favorite. Now 2 for 2. Takes the Friday feature. We have the nightcap still to come. Features still to come at Oaklawn. This filly might be hearing more about her talented New York bred. We'll be back.
The return of Sunday Silence.
Sunday Silence surges to the front. It's Yoshida in front. Yoshida takes charge at the top of the stretch, and Yoshida wins the Turf Classic.
Here comes Yoshida, storming home in the center with Gunnevera. Yoshida! Yoshida has won the one-word.
The perfect balance. Yoshida.
We take pride in what we do.
For me, it's more of a passion than actual work. I'm an assistant trainer.
Carpenter.
I'm a peace officer.
I'm a jockey.
I'm a gardener.
I'm a groom.
Clocker.
Assistant starter. Trainer.
ESL teacher.
I love what I do.
There's so many jobs that come together every day. It's a collective effort that really makes this ball go round.
We are New York Racing.
I couldn't imagine working anywhere else.
For me, riding horses in the morning is the best thing I can do.
New York Racing helps support my small business.
It's extremely important to the New York economy.
Like my dream come true.
This is like a big family.
We are New York Horse Racing.
The road to the Kentucky Derby starts with Naira Bets. Earn a cash bonus throughout the Triple Crown Trail. Hit a $5 win bet on select races and split $1,000 on each race. Opt in at NairaBets.com.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS2, regional networks out in Southern California. Good to have you with us. We just saw Downtown Mischief start 2 for 2 in her career. Impressive here for Linda Rice. Lady Sheila Stable with Jose Lezcano aboard. Our winner circle lead in. It's brought to you by Fasig-Tipton Digital, North America's #1 digital auction platform for thoroughbreds. Fasig-Tipton Digital, the newest from the oldest. Learn more at digital.fasigtipton.com.
Big weekend for Sheila Rosen with her stable with Lady Sheila, because she's got 2 in the stake here on Sunday. One she just, both of them she had bought into. One of them's had 1 start for her, and the other one not. And they could be, one of them's probably the favorite, if I'm the favorite.
Like seeing these silks in the winner's circle.
I love those silks. Great silks. Very noticeable silks as well. And of course, we can't help but think of Laver Dodd when we see those silks.
No
right?
question. So Downtown Mischief, $3.30 for the victory. 2 for 2 to start her career. And we got 1 leg remaining on a Pick 6 carryover day. There's Jose Lezcano, Linda Rice, and those Lady Sheila Silks.
Should we look at what the will pays are in the Pick 6?
So $231,000 in the pool. The really tough one to get. Irish Exit.
The 10 not covered.
15-1.
So what did we say it was? A little over 100. So 300, about 1,400. With this thing, a little over 2,000. So a little over 2,500 for $1, about 1,000. And the lowest one is with the 8. The firster is 6,400. So paying pretty well, huh? And the 10 isn't covered, Greg.
I like the 10.
Mays love. Do you like Mays? Well, apparently you're the only one.
Well, not a 12-1 on the board. Not impossible.
Actually,
this is a tough race. 7-2 in this race is your favorite. So it tells you it's a difficult one to close it out. Back at Oaklawn, 7th coming up. And a 2-turn mile here. 20,000 non-winners at 2 life. Condition as we start with Quality Run.
Is not as good as his sire, Quality Road. The last 2 races have been abysmal.
Well put. Family
Thank you,
Tradition at 9-1.
Was only making the 3rd start. Was claimed out of a maiden win at even money against a very weak field.
20-1 on Mystifier here. Cody Rosen trains.
Yeah, ran actually respectively last time, but I just think that number, the 70 buyer, is tough to back.
Peter Miller horse here, Midnight Majesty. Second start at Oaklawn.
He does not have great numbers stretching out. This one stretches out from a sprint to a route.
Slight drop, 30-20 N2L. The 5 Schmooze, Steve Asmussen.
Going to have to, I think, improve. Should be somewhat forward, I'm guessing, in here, but this pace could be fast. This horse may get outrun.
Paid in full, went by, making his 4-year-old debut.
He looks like the speed.
Here's Rounder with blinkers on.
Yeah, he comes in his best racer at Indiana, and he comes off synthetic, probably a little overmatched here.
Tom Swearingen with namesake big price.
Yeah, I'm in a good big price for a reason.
Robertino Diodoro, quick to blame, just claim this horse.
Well, he's great off the claim with dirt routers, particularly at Oaklawn. His ROI is over $3 the last 5 years.
Showed speed last start. Should be the case again with Conspiracy Fact.
I thought the race was all the way on the outside. I thought the 9, 10, 11 were the three. I'm interested to hear what Paulie has to say. The 10, maybe the speed of the speed in here. We'll see if he can move from the outside post. And Mint, of course, off the claim for Brad Cox.
Yeah, it was on a race on synthetic last start, so dismiss that. Last time on dirt, it was a win. 30 maiden claiming score at Churchill Downs at a mile. So that's your 2-1 favorite. Let's go to Paulie for more.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement here with Andy here that the outside 3 horses are the main horses in here. And I'll start with the 11 Mint, claimed last time by Brad Cox out of the Mike Maker barn. And, you know, Gerardo Corrado's been on this horse, Luis Saez as well. Now Joel Rosario will be aboard. And, you know, this horse won a 1-turn mile at Churchill Downs, beating Frosted Diamond that day. Frosted Diamond had come back to win. So the lone win is not around 2 turns. He did win that race from the 12 hole, so we'll give him a little bit of credit there. I do think the son of Bodemeister is the one to beat, maybe on numbers. It's really tough. Listen, when you claim horses from Mike Maker, it's just like anything else, but Brad Cox is obviously very good in his own right. He doesn't really claim a ton of horses. He's only had 10 claims this year. I know we're early in the 2023 season, Greg, but he's 40%. The other horse in here, the 9, Quick to Blame, a lot of people are going to. And, you know, when you look at Quick to Blame, here's a horse that's 1 for 11. The one win that worries me is that this horse was 60 cents on the dollar for Brad Cox in a 10-horse field. And it says staggered stretch. I don't know if it's a staggered start because I looked at the replay, and the horse broke like a shot, and he was going down the lane, and he wasn't finishing too well. Now, he's been claimed by Robertino Diodoro. I think that's why the money's going to the 9. I like the 11 more than I like the 9 in this spot. And if I was going to look for somebody else, I do agree. Greg Compton claimed a horse off Al Stahl a little earlier in the meet and got some dividends. You know, this horse showed a little bit more speed and kind of ran off on Christian Torres last time, Conspiracy Fact. And I just think that horse, if settled, could be a horse that, you know, could be forwardly placed in part of it. So I'm along with Andy with 9, 10, and 11. I'm going to throw you my crazy long shot in here. There is just so much speed in here, and I have a feeling there's just a lot of horses that don't want to go around 2 turns. The One Quality Run has had a couple of races. If you go back, you got to go back to 2021, where this horse has made up some ground. The last 2 races have just been awful, but I just have a feeling that maybe if this horse gets sucked up into the race at 38-1, I wouldn't mind using the 1 on the bottom side of your exotics here, maybe your triples or your superfectas to maybe spice it up a little bit.
Maybe a horse is going to be running late and can grab a piece of it at a price underneath. Paulie, thanks. 8-5 favorite now for Brad Cox. Mint outside the 11 with Rosario.
Yeah, I would prefer the 9 just because of the great numbers from Diodoro, but my play in here would be to try to get the 10 at the exacta with the 9-11. That would be my idea. But I'm going to be rooting for Paulie's crazy pick with the 1 as a, horse to try to get in there somewhere, not his pick per se.
Yeah, obviously, look, Quick to Blame. That price coming down now, 5-2. And you would mention, do you have them on you, the numbers with Diodoro?
Off the claim with dirt routes at Oaklawn over the last 5 years, just at Oaklawn, he's 30 for 112, 27% with a 301 ROI. So he's winning with 27% of them, but they're actually paying close to $12. I mean, that's remarkable, Greg. Remarkable. And I'll tell you something else. They're routes, not sprints. You don't usually see necessarily better numbers with routers. He's outstanding with his claims. And he's very good at every track, but he's particularly good at Oaklawn. Dangerous man.
Yeah, this horse last start was in 30, non-winners of 2. You look at that initially and you say, well, is it really that big of a drop, 30 to 20?
No.
But when they go to that barn, too, they get better.
Yep. No, that's the feeling. That's. I'm not going to buck it. We've seen it too many times.
So those 5 to 2 on Quick to Blame. Horse used to be with Brad Cox. And actually,
I was going to say we've seen him run, right? Yeah, he was in Saratoga this summer.
Looked like he might have a future. Was second to Ethereal Road in a maiden race at Oaklawn last year.
I want to name a horse Ethereal McCoy.
That was D. Wayne Lucas's Derby hope, of course.
Ethereal McCoy or Ethereal Road?
Basically won the Kentucky Derby for Rich Strike. If not for Ethereal Road, Rich Strike would never have happened.
Because he scratched.
Yes.
Did that help?
That got Rich Strike into the race.
I'm aware. Yeah.
Well, everyone else may not be.
So, do you think Steve has thought of it that way, Asmussen? You know, I feel bad with Epicenter. I'm so glad looking back on it that he won the Travers the way he did, you know, Greg, because he was so unlucky. Because he really was. I mean, arguably could have won the Derby and Preakness.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you say there is an argument that he could have been going for Triple Crown in the Belmont?
Could have, yeah.
And then to get hurt the way he did in the Breeders' Cup. Just a horse that was a little bit unlucky at times. A very good horse.
I think, yeah.
What?
I thought he deserved it as well.
3-year-old champion?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm a big Taba fan. I don't mean that as a knock on Taba.
Not at all.
But I think that if you look at, you got to be careful looking at the gradings because there's no reason the Santa Anita Derby should be a grade 1 and the Louisiana Derby a grade 2. They should both be considered preps for the Derby, the final preps. And I also thought that you look at the horses that he ran against the Fairgrounds, he ran against some very good horses. He was a good horse.
And, yeah, going forward, had a lot of, big names, obviously Flightline gone, but Teo, this could be a big year for him.
I agree. It could be a big year for him. He's going to be in the Saudi Cup next weekend, right? He's a very good horse, Taba. I mean, I'm not denying it in any way. I'm really sorry that we never, because of the circumstance, we didn't see them square off in the Travers, and then, because what happened in the Breeders' Cup.
8-5 favorite. It's Brad Cox with Mint outside. You got Diodoro, JK with Quick to Blame. Those two, that's the 9, taking most of the money here.
Yeah, and look, Diodoro with the 9 Quick to Blame, he's going to have to find that form that he had in his past. And a lot of times I think with high percentage trainers like Diodoro, you kind of assume that that's going to be the case. I don't necessarily trust that. This horse was dropped for a tag last time. Diodoro took the horse. So why now is there going to be that kind of turn of events? The 11 Mint I thought was interesting. I just don't like the price. Drawn towards the outside. This horse has an okay dirt race in here as well that makes a little bit of sense. But, for my money, I thought the 4 was a little bit more interesting. Midnight Majesty for Peter Miller. These are the types of races where it just feels like you got to try to get a little bit more creative than Brad Cox and Diodoro at Oaklawn Park. You get Ricardo. This horse has speed to the inside. I thought ran well last time after getting stuck down on the inside. Had some trouble, broke slowly. Now, does have to run a little bit faster, but I do think that the 4 Midnight Majesty has it in him. And the price is a little bit more attractive than the top 2 choices.
I'm a little surprised you're getting 6-1 here. I mean, basically it's a West Coast horse, and they take attention. Had that trouble in that start. It is a little bit of a drop down.
I forgot to watch the replay of the last race, to be honest. And I just don't trust chart comments. Not that I'm saying it didn't happen. I just need to watch replays, and I was remiss and did not. And I'd even marked down. For what it's worth, not good numbers for Peter Miller stretching out from routes to sprints. I mean, sprints to routes.
Yeah, broke his maiden sprinting for maiden 20. That was at Del Mar in December.
Don't you think he's a lot of speed in here? It's not going to be easy for him to make the lead. We'll see.
Favorite, last load outside Mint, Rosario. Brad Cox off the claim team and up. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
The last horse to load is Mint. They're at the post. They're off. Schmooze broke well, so did Rounder. Through from the inside, Midnight Majesty. Quick to Blame is into the bit early as well. Then to the outside end, Conspiracy Fact, followed by Mint. At the Rail Family Tradition, Paid in Full and Namesake are next. Then Mystifier, and the trailer is Quality Run. It's Midnight Majesty and Schmooze to the backstretch. Midnight Majesty, a neck in front. Schmooze is second, a length and a quarter to Quick to Blame, who's 3 deep in third. Conspiracy Fact made his way to the rail. Nice move, Francisco Arrieta, and 2 from the front. Mint is placed 5th by Rosario. He's 4 off the lead and a length in front of former stablemate Family Tradition. 5 lengths to Namesake and Rounder. Another 3.5 to Paid in Full. Mystifier has double digits to make up, and he's double digits in front of the trailer Quality Run half-mile pole. Finish line is the 16th pole, and Midnight Majesty is the one to catch. He opens up into the far turn. He's a length and a half in front of Schmooze. At the rail, Conspiracy Fact, and to the outside, Quick to Blame. Mint is still 5th and about 4 from the front. 3 back to Family Tradition. Around the far turn, Midnight Majesty is a length in front. Quick to Blame is about to take over second, and he's got a final quarter to try to catch the front-running Midnight Majesty. Conspiracy Fact can still do it. Schmooze is between horses, still in with a chance. Top of the stretch, Midnight Majesty. Quick to Blame to the outside. Conspiracy Fact between horses. These 3 come to the final 150 yards. Midnight Majesty, Conspiracy Fact, Quick to Blame, and Conspiracy Fact has now taken charge. Quick to Blame is second. Conspiracy Fact in front. Great ride. Francisco Arrieta. Conspiracy Fact beat Quick to Blame. Midnight Majesty, Mint might have been 4th.
Conspiracy Fact, last time out, and when he's been successful in the past, well, the one time he won, he did it on the front end. Not today. Comes and gets this 4-horse who was in front for Peter Miller. Francisco Arrieta for Greg Compton.
And Vic is absolutely right. That was a tremendous job. I even said it to you as they were going around the first turn, that Arrieta did a tremendous job if he was able to rate to get it done, and just got great position. They were moving up front. Ran well. Quick to Blame ran well to be second here because he was wide the whole way chasing the pace. But little 10-9, little money there.
701, Conspiracy Fact, the winner of those prices coming up. Sad to hear in horse racing. I know someone you were very close to and loved in this game, John Veitch, Hall of Famer, trainer of Aladarn, probably the greatest rivalry this game has ever seen, died of natural causes in his home in Lexington, Kentucky at the age of 77.
Yeah, I mean, as far as his training career, John was a tremendous trainer, had great success. He really brought Calumet back to have that moment, you know, with our Mims, obviously Alidar as well, and they were halves. And there is John, a great man, a pensive John right there. Of course, before Dawn as well, Proud Truth, and he went from Calumet, he went to Darby Dan. He had great success with them. Proud Truth winning the 2nd Breeders' Cup Classic, doing it at Aqueduct, and doing it after winning the Discovery just a week earlier, Greg. And this was a tremendous field. Gate Dancer, Turkoman, Chief's Crown, Van Landingham, I believe.
From
was
so
here as
far
well.
out of it.
And George Velasquez rode for him pretty much always, you know, Sunshine Forever together. John had remarkable success, plenty of grace, won so many big races with her.
4 champs. You mentioned 2 of them, yeah.
Yeah, his success. I mean, he won almost 20% of his career wins were in graded stakes. And
known more than anything, though, for Alidar.
And this was his Whitney, the race before the Travers. You can understand why John was so disappointed that even though Alidar was placed first in the Travers, you never got to see how it would have played out because of the foul. And this effort, I can remember watching this live by Alidar. J.O. Tobin, who a year earlier had beaten Seattle Slew, was, I think, the second choice. I mean, this was a brilliant, brilliant performance by a tremendous racehorse, and John, a tremendous trainer, but also a man of great integrity in the game as well. You know, he went and was a steward in Kentucky, was, in my opinion, very unfairly treated in the Life is 10 incident. A man who, I know John, and I knew him well, and he had a lot of integrity, and he not somebody, just somebody you could really respect in the game. And for me, knowing him, he was one of the most fun people I knew to spend time with. He was just a great guy to spend time with, and an interesting guy. Had been in the game for a long time. His father, an incredibly successful trainer as well. But John was a terrific guy, and it made me very sad to hear he passed away. But as you get older, you know more people that pass away. But I think I also thought back to a lot of the times I spent with John, and when he used to work on the TV show here, and I'd be in the office with him and Harvey Pack. Great times, great conversation, very smart guy. And he'll be missed. John was a terrific guy. He left us, I know he was 77, he left us too soon. And I'm sorry that I won't ever see John again, but I'll remember his great success in the racetrack and as well as the times I spent with him.
Game will miss him. Yeah, so many. We'll miss him around, especially on this circuit here.
Yeah.
Passes away at the age of 77, survived by his daughter Shannon, son Jason. He will be buried in Saratoga Springs.
Tampa Bay Downs has a rich thoroughbred horse racing history in Florida dating back to 1926. Celebrities such as Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, and John Ringling all attended opening day. In 1981, Hall of Fame jockey Julie Crone won her first career race here, and in 2007, we saw Street Sense win the Tampa Bay Derby and go on later that year to win the Kentucky Derby. Featuring full fields, great turf racing, and a 15% takeout on our Pick 5, Tampa Bay Downs has live racing every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
We are back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Regional networks out in SoCal. Program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Nightcap in New York. Here's Fellini at 6-1.
Oh, you pronounced that correctly. I thought Fellini was one of the ones in this race off the last effort. Was outside. The rail was bad, but did improve a lot.
First timer for David Donk. Delightful Rita.
Yeah, taking some nibbles here. Not much pedigree to go on.
Dylan Davis on Wine Goddess.
Pick this one fourth, but she'd probably have to improve.
7-1. My Inner Voice at 22-1. There's some pedigree to win first time out.
There's one that was okay on the dirt and turf. We'll see. I'm not familiar with these connections.
Madame Rose can show a little early pace. 0 for 37.
You got it. Maybe the 38th time is the charm. Not with my money.
Trying to become the next Zippy Chippy. War Museum at 24-1.
There's much more turf pedigree on this one, taking no money. The Word Dancer is not really dirt horses.
Here's Bad Connection, first-time starter for Rudy Rodriguez.
Yeah, prep, by the way, for turf racing starts soon. This horse I thought would be favored here is co-favored doubles the 12.
Big Bullet Drill, January 25th, quick as the 77. Mrs. Bell, 0 for 6.
Yeah, as the trainer has not had success here over the last year. About.
Penn National Shipper. Mays Love Laffey has speed and puts blinkers on.
On a gold rail last time. Good luck to her.
7-1, Follow the Fed, Rudy Rodriguez as well.
I think Maggie likes this one.
And 5-2 favorite, Flattering Gal.
I think this is a rider upgrade to Eric Cancellin here, and thought she was the logical horse of the ones that ran.
Let's take a look.
She's 2 back.
At, your current favorite on your screen here. 5-2.
You know, cuts back a little bit from a mile last time out. Might find a little less distance, a little bit better. And just thought this was kind of horse to beat. You know what's interesting with this horse? I just noticed. See who bred this horse?
Linda Rice.
Yeah. She's everywhere.
This was 2 starts back. So this was December 29th, going 7 furlongs, would wind up second to Yogi.
It was a Jimmy Bond horse, right? I believe. It might have been a first year. It was definitely a Jimmy Bond horse. Just thought this horse ran well enough 2 back. I was just finding a race to show. So you have to look it up.
This race made you like her today?
No. I just like her form in general, and I like the rider switch. I don't love her. I don't love anybody here, but I'm not going to guess with first-time starters. So otherwise, you just guess with the 8. I just feel up here in general, I'm gonna go to horses with experience for the most part. They just don't win that often. They usually take too much money. 8 was over $65,000 a year ago. It's now running for 25.
Here's Fellini, 9-2 for the James Bond barn. This is back on New Year's Day. 6 furlongs in the mud.
And it was not the best of fields. But this horse was not on the rail, was outside. But I will say this race kind of collapsed, and she really survived the pace. So I thought she ran pretty well in there. But what kind of trip can she work out from the inside, a race where it appears there's more speed? We'll see. One of the ones. I picked the race 12-8-1. 12-8-1-3. But 12-8-1 is 3 I would have used.
And Apprentice will be aboard, 7-pound Apprentice.
Well, now, without Jose Gomez, no longer has the bug.
Yeah, Jaime Torres. Let's go to JK, get his thoughts on the nightcap.
Yeah, because I mean, I didn't have an overly strong opinion here. In fact, this race is probably the reason that I think my handle on the pick 6 carryover today was so low. I didn't feel like I could lean on anyone in here, and I felt like this is the type of race where something extremely random happens, where I could watch the results of the race 17 times and then still not explain to you how it happened and just say, like, that's what happens at this level. I thought the 8 bad connection was at least a little bit interesting. Rudy hasn't been Rudy that we're used to. But Rudy can win with a first-time starter, and I also think that Rudy can sometimes aggressively place horses in these maiden claiming situations first time out. Obviously the best example would be like Hondo Commando, but I don't want to say that he does it all the time, but he can try to sneak one past you. But you wouldn't think he would get Manny in that situation if he was trying to sneak one past. But they are taking some money here on the board. I have no real interest in the 12 Flattering Girl at the price that she is. She's had a lot of opportunities at a lower level to try to get it done and hasn't been able to. I'm going to ultimately pick the 8 bad connection, but I'm going to go out on the record and say that anyone can win this race. So if someone crazy wins, I called it.
No, he's saying anyone can win, and he picked the co-favorite first-time starter. No, Jonathan, you don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're going to have to go out on a limb. If you pick like the 9 or something ridiculous.
So Jonathan,
Jonathan, I'm calling foul on that. I'm calling the stewards.
I thought it was wide open. Jonathan thinks anyone can win. You thought only 3 horses could win.
I think it's very likely that the winner will be among the 1, 8, and 12. Maybe the 3 has a little bit of a chance. I'll be surprised.
And that 8, that first-timer, is now the favorite bad connection. And a lot of times, some people will lean on first-timers when those who have run have not shown a lot on the track, and this field, for the most part, has not.
I want a lunch from Stabile. That's all I care about. I told him I bet the 8 would be favored. He said the 12 would be. So I feel like a winner already.
5-2 favorite, the 8 bad connection, Rapoli Stable, Rudy Rodriguez and Manny Franco. Nightcap from Aqueduct. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Follow the Fed and Flattering Gal. All in line. All set. And they're off. Bad connection breaks well from in between horses. Right there is Madame Rose, and at the rail it's Fellini. That's the leading trio. Up on the far outside, Follow the Fed is in the red cap, is taken fourth, but has company to the inside. Here is My Inner Voice, is stacked up with that second grouping. In that mix is going to be War Museum, who's in there. Also Maze Love Laffy, then Flattering Gal is towards the far outside, as far back here. Early with Wine Goddess, Mrs. Bell, and the trailer, Delightful Rita. It's a battle on for the front end. Down to the inside, Fellini is ahead in front. Right there is Madame Rose, who's in that mix, and Bad Connection is right off of them, 3 wide. Trying to make up some ground here comes Follow the Fed, and that red cap is moving forward, is within 2.5 of the leaders as they approach a quarter mile left to go. They went 23.37 for the opening quarter mile. Fellini is in front at the top of the stretch, 48.52 for a half-mile time, but here comes Bad Connection, who's ready to pounce up on the outside. Fellini has got more. Bad Connection, Flattering Gal is starting to launch a big rally on the grandstand side, and these pace setters are tired. Flattering Gal is making up big ground, and here comes Flattering Gal. Fellini is trying to find more. but Flattering Gal is now pushed on by. It's Flattering Gal made a big move in the stretch, and Flattering Gal wins the finale. Fellini there for second, then got tight. My Inner Voice with an oncoming Mrs. Bell there in the photo for third and fourth in 1 minute 15.13 seconds.
Flattering Gal, Eric Cancel, the Noda Barn 7th timeout breaks her maiden.
And frankly, I ended up going off the third choice in here. And this is one where Eric was absolutely right, Eric Cancel, and weighing back, because they went 23-37 the first quarter. That is moving for these horses. I think Fellini ran second, ran extremely well to finish second here. Put away the 8, who Manny seemed a little confident top of the stretch, came up completely empty. And Flattering Gal, Eric was just patient. She drew off to an easy win and a fairly generous 7-2 at the end.
A few minutes to post, she was favored, winds up going off at 7-2.
2-1 in the 8.
Yeah.
2-1 in the 8.
Okay. Just
I
a
won
general
my
comment.
lunch bet. I'm basking in the glory of my big lunch win. I'm only up 127 lunches.
That was for those that don't know, Talking Horses earlier this morning.
Oh, everybody knows with the lunch bets. Come on. Get with
12-1 photo for show and card in the books. And we're going to show you what this pick 5 came back, pick 6.
Pick 6 was around 8,000 for $1.
Because of one horse, basically.
Absolutely, but that's pick 6s. It doesn't matter. I mean, and you think about it. We've talked about this. 3 to 5 shot wins the 7th race. It's not, you don't worry about the favorites. You don't lose these bets because you leave favorites out. People think you do, but you don't. It's the question of getting a horse in if you could get the second winner in. That's all you need in here. Everybody else was perfectly logical.
Andy, back tomorrow.
You guys are taking me out because you're calling. You're going to interview Tom Amos, and Tom said he wouldn't speak to me. I just
did not want you
know
here
that's
for
what
that.
happened.
Be
it's okay. I'll get even.
Blowout, fireworks. Can't have that happen too early in the year. Maggie Wolfendale going to join me on set when we come back. We will see Andy on Saturday. We got the Friday feature from Oaklawn when we return. Stay with us. More ahead. CZ Rocket, former runner-up of the Breeders' Cup Sprint, as a 9-year-old back in action.
Whatever you use to predict future stallion success, breathe slowly and gaze at the desert's first great championship race. Curlin won it. So did Street Cry, Arrogate, and now, in a time even faster than Arrogate's, Mystic Guide. The cold hard fact is, after this, he was rated the best horse in the world. Mystic Guide. New to Darley.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
The road to the Kentucky Derby starts with Naira Bets. Earn a cash bonus throughout the Triple Crown Trail. Hit a $5 win bet on select races and split $1,000 on each race. Opt in at nairabets.com.
Lexitonian, a consistent top-level performer from east to west, a debut winner at 2, winning and placing in multiple Grade 1 races, following the footsteps of his sire Speightstown to win the Grade 1 Vanderbilt at Saratoga, and placing second in the Grade 1 Bing Crosby and Grade 1 Churchill Downs Stakes, out of the daughter of a Grade 1 test winner. He has the pedigree, the speed, and the looks to succeed. Lexitonian, standing at Lane's End.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
The industry has a few things that we have to take care of better, and one was the aftercare of the horses.
If we did nothing, these horses would end up in very bad places. That can't happen.
We have a social responsibility to make sure that thoroughbred aftercare is also #1 on the list.
The cost could be the entire industry. We have to take care of these horses.
I remember that meeting at Belmont Park. It was a dream.
It's different than any other program that was put into place.
It is a first line of defense for those who are concerned about what happens to the equine athlete after he's done racing.
We started with some 21 organizations across the country, and now we're up to over 82 facilities throughout the country and giving away almost just under $25 million.
It's the one shining accomplishment that we have that we can point to say we really do love our horses.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Valley Sports SoCal San Diego as well. We have the feature coming up from Oaklawn. Very competitive 6-furlong sprints. Joining me on set, Maggie Wolfendale. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Whoa, I feel like my hair is just really crazy. It was windy out there, and plus I'm having issues with my mic. I'm a little discombobulated.
Settle in.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It's amazing that CZ Rocket, 9 years old, back for more, and that he still was runner-up again last year as an 8-year-old in the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
I can't believe he's only 9 at this point, Greg. He feels like he should be like 11 or 12. He's just been around and consistent, as you were alluding to show up in the Breeders' Cup yet again, runner-up in that race, and he's back for more action. First race as a 9-year-old. Really looking forward to it. It's a short field, but it's a contentious one.
It is, yeah. Quite a few scratches in this spot. And edge to edge, talked about it at the top of the show when I came on with Andy. This horse ran the race of his life. I don't know where it came from. If he could continue to keep running races like that, we're going to see him in the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Yeah, I mean, and he looks, if they won, to be loose in here. And he was certainly complimented when Payne came back with a 98 Beyer speed figure for his second start for the Asmussen barn. So maybe he's now a 5-year-old that's really getting good.
Here's Necker Island. It's going to be a 6-year-old debut coming up for Chris Hartman.
Yeah, last time we saw him, which was in a loaded Phoenix, Maniwal, just with an exhilarating stretch run, he just seemed too far out of it, and he kind of lacks a lot of gears. He'll grind it out if the pace falls apart in front of him.
Here's CZ Rocket, 2-time runner-up of the Breeders' Cup Sprint, including last year. He's closing in on $2 million in earnings.
He just shows up, Greg, each and every time against the best of the best in the country.
Morello, interesting. He had a kind of a strange start last time out that compromised him.
Maybe he needed it to. It just seemed as though he came up short after breaking slow last time.
With the 2 out, did they hand the race to edge to edge?
That's the question. Francisco Arrieta riding lights out. Heard you guys complimenting his ride in the last race. I think he should be aggressive and just take it to them early in this short field.
Basically went to gate to wire last time out, and that was his career best we've ever seen from him. Meanwhile, CZ Rocket, Breeders' Cup Sprint as an 8-year-old, 31-1. He actually took the lead, looked like he was going to win the race. In the end, Elite Power gets it, but he holds off Jackie's Warrior and gets second.
I remember watching this going, CZ Rocket's going to get a Breeders' Cup win at 30+1? What is happening here? Again, like you said, a valiant performance here, just run down by the crown champion in Elite Power. I mean, look how game he is. He had every reason to let Jackie's Warrior go by him, and he didn't.
Why couldn't he win in 2020?
I'm sorry.
Even money, and a bit of that, he's going to be well, everyone's going to be pace compromised in here because edge to edge just looks like he can do it alone on the front end with a scratch of the 2.
Yeah, he does. He's getting a nice little warm up too with Francisco Arrieta aboard, just kind of warming him up by himself. And he was just doing this so comfortably here and clears off. Francisco doesn't even really get to riding him too much. He just ran these horses off their feet. And like I've said in the past, horses reach their full physical potential at 5 years of age. So there's every reason to believe if there's not too many starts and stops, if there's not too many issues, that they should be their best when they reach 5.
Well, he was in his 5-year-old debut. Can he do it again? Let's go to Paula Duca.
You know, Greg and Maggie, I actually think he can do it again. When you look back at his past performances, I wonder, a lot of people are wondering, okay, is that last race his career top? Is it a wrong number? Did he run too fast? But when you look at his other 2 races when on his comeback trail, he lost by a dirty nose at Churchill Downs. Then he went on 2 sloppy racetracks. You look at his numbers, his worst numbers is when the track is wet. He does not like any kind of moisture on the racetrack, and the racetrack is playing fast today. I think he clears this field. He's a 5-year-old, I think, that is getting better. Necker Island, his barn mate in here is not going to put any pressure on him. CZ's Rocket, I would think, would sit in a nice little pocket. And same with Morello. Now, when you get a 4-horse field, does the pace advantage really help you out that much? It depends how Francisco wants to play this Arrieta. Does he just want to go out to the lead and try to separate and get 3 or 4 lengths and let the other runners kind of just sort of catch up and make them use them up early, or does he try to slow it down? I'd rather him just run, go for broke, because it seems like to me when Edge to Edge is ever at the top of the lane, he got beat by Silk Trade. We just saw Silk Trade come back to win. It just seems like when he gets to the front end and he has the lead at the top of the stretch, he is very tough to beat. And I get it. CZ's Rocket, runner-up in the Breeders' Cup. But Father Time has touched a lot of people. Tom Brady, a lot of other horses. And at age 9, is he going to come back off that big effort, off that layoff, and give me his best? Maybe he can. But at age 9, he's a wonderful horse. I just think at this point, I'll take Edge to Edge, gate to wire here, Greg.
I'm inclined to agree with Pauline here just because of the pace edge as well. I'm interested to hear what JK has to say. Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm going to try to beat CZ Rocket in here. I think that I was a little surprised he ran as well as he did in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. And to me, that means that they must have built him up for that race, kind of that last effort, and he got that good effort out of him. You got to think that the old guy's going to probably need one to kind of find his best here. And the other reason why is because I really do think that Edge to Edge might have just gotten good for some reason. Now, I don't typically like to just kind of say I can't really figure out why the horse got better, but he did, because usually I would go the other way. But I got to believe that number. And the reason I believe the number is if you look at like Timeform US, I know Andy's a huge fan. I'm a fan of Timeform US. But Edge to Edge ran a 121, 119 last time. If you look at the horses that were behind him, they have all either matched, 4 horses have come back and run. They've either matched their number or improved their number. That makes me believe that Edge to Edge number was real because the horses behind have run what they ran. So all the times in that race are checking out. So I'm going to go with Edge to Edge in here and see if he can't beat CZ Rocket, who CZ Rocket's, like you said, getting a little old. Father Time's getting me too. I was playing basketball today with Austin. I almost blew out my knee.
Jonathan, I did the same thing doing a fake tennis swing in my house the other night.
Oh, Greg, you weren't even doing the real thing.
Wow.
I feel you, though. I am definitely sore 3 days out from a workout I did.
We're all in agreement here. Yeah? You like the 6 as well?
Yeah, though, look, the TV never really gives you the best inclination of how a horse looks coming back off a layoff. CZ Rocket does look fit. He does look healthy. So at least he has that going for him. But yes, I would be of the mind to take Edge to Edge. For the pure pace advantage that he looks to have over this field.
Looked to me like he was on his toes, too. What did you see appearance-wise from Edge to Edge?
Quiet. I don't know him well, but at least Francisco Arrieta took him away from the pony, moving well out there. And there's several horses that are having to come off layoffs, and he by far looks the most fit.
Both at 3-2 in here. CZ Rocket, Edge to Edge. 6 should be in the lead. Can CZ Rocket come and get him? Surprised a lot of people with that Breeders' Cup performance last time out, but he'd been a very competitive sprinter at the highest level for several years for Peter Miller. But really reached up and ran a huge one to close out his 8-year-old campaign. Can he come back at 9 nearly as effective? We're going to find out here. This is the starting point feature on this Friday card from Oaklawn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
Low to Edge. They're at the post. They're off. Morello blew the break. Edge to Edge wins the break and goes to the front from CZ Rocket in second. Necker Island is third, and Morello is at the back of the pack. Edge to Edge, the controlling speed up the backstretch from CZ Rocket, who sits a length back in second. 2 lengths to Morello, who moves through inside of Necker Island. They're both about 3 lengths behind at the half-mile marker. Edge to Edge in charge. He leads by a length and a half. CZ Rocket, trying to get over $2 million in his brilliant career, races a joint second with Morello at the rail and Necker Island between horses. Edge to Edge, still the boss. He's at just before the quarter-mile marker, and he leads by a length and a quarter from CZ Rocket, who has every chance to outfinish him. Morello is third at the rail, 2 from the front. Necker Island is the trailer, top of the stretch. Edge to Edge is the leader. CZ Rocket is still a length and a half behind. Those two have sprinted 3 clear of Necker Island. It's down to Edge and CZ Rocket. Edge to Edge, still fresh, a 16th out. And now he's 3 in front. CZ Rocket is second, Necker Island third. Edge to Edge in front. Edge to Edge won by 2.5. CZ Rocket second, Necker Island third. Morello finished fourth.
Tough ask here for CZ Rocket. Edge to Edge, controlled the pace throughout, and I think CZ Rocket a little closer than he wanted to be.
Yeah, it feels like he does do his best running, Greg, like you said, with a little bit more pace to run at. So he was just put into chase mode here. There was really no other option where Morello didn't break and Necker Island is a dead closer. So I thought a decent return to the races. You know, he gave the feeling that he still got it as a 9-year-old. He just met a very informed horse who, as I said, had a huge pace advantage over this field.
Edge to Edge. Back-to-back performances where he has been very, very good here in Hot Springs. Chris Hartman, Francisco Arrieta, owned by Peggy Thompson. Not close to what that horse has accomplished, but maybe he's
on his way.
Well, yeah, 5-year-old. I was going to say the next Whitmore. Not quite.
Yeah,
the Breeders' Cup Sprint winner, but...
But yeah, I feel you. I get what you're saying.
Back in New York, Fluttering Gal closes out the card with a win. Eric Cancel, Orlando Notobarn.
Yeah, she was in the right spot, turning back in distance to this 6-furlong contest in which they went fast up front. So this race really just fell into her lap as she was able to charge down the middle of the racetrack, albeit on her wrong lead. And Fellini, also on her wrong lead, I thought gutted out a really good runner-up performance because she was a part of that fast pace.
12, way too good for this group to close it out at 7-2. $9.40 for the win. Yeah, Fellini, my inner voice, talked briefly about in the post-spread, 45-1 to close out the trifecta.
Who was claimed. I mean, they must have known something about this horse because they claimed her at 45-1. What? You don't see that every day.
There was a little bit of pedigree there. I thought that horse was interesting.
No,
but yeah.
I agree with you. But it was actually, if anything, a little bit more of a turf pedigree, so maybe they claimed her with that.
Maybe, yeah. Payout for $1,487. We're in the books for our Friday card in New York. We're going to get to talk to Tom Amos when we come back, our Saratoga partner. Big weekend coming up for him on the Derby and Oaks Trail. Curly Jack making his 3-year-old debut, and a filly that Tom thinks is very special. Hoosier filly. We'll see here in the Rachel Alexandra. Stay with us. We'll chat with him next. You're watching America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Regional networks out in Southern California as well in San Diego. Brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Feature of the books at Oaklawn, Edge to Edge, is just a different horse in 2 starts now as a 5-year-old.
And it sometimes happens, and it rewards connections if they're patient enough and bring them along, that they can achieve this once they're proverbially fully grown, and he definitely has for Chris Hartman and Francisco Arrieta.
Been just an incredible meet that continues for the man standing by with Paula Duca.
Yes, Greg, I am standing by with Chris Hartman with Edge to Edge, gets the job done here. And Chris, what's been the key for this horse turning the corner?
Well, he's in his best year, the 5-year-old. I mean, he's turning on the burners here, but the horse loves this racetrack, to be honest with you, and he's just really coming into himself, I believe.
You know, his past 2 races seemed like he wasn't really picking up the slop, and then his last race he sort of validated, and a lot of people were thinking, wait a second, is this a real number? And then he franked it today. Did you think he ran better than he did last time?
Ooh, I don't know. He ran a hell of a race last time. I don't know if this one, but he did come home fast, but he got a real soft pace. I mean, 23, and there was no pace on early, and he was just galloping, and it's hard to beat a horse like that, you know. So I mean, he ran his race today.
Obviously, I hate asking this question because you got to wait till he cools out, talk to the owners. What would your idea be next for this horse?
Well, I think we're going to have to open the playbook. I mean, I really wasn't thinking, but I mean, he's going to probably have to go into stakes. I mean, we'll wait and see what his numbers look like and everything, but I probably will point to some stakes. You know, here they've got a great couple races here coming up, so we'll see how he comes back, more important, and go from there.
Well, Chris Hartman's in unbelievable form, and so is this horse Edge to Edge, and they're going to test the waters next time out, Greg.
As they should. I mean, that's back-to-back starts now. He's validated it with this performance that he is a serious player.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. The 3 other foes that he had in this race were all stakes plays previously, and he wasn't. But that's going to be the next step for him, and rightfully so. I think he's up to the task.
And we should say too with Morello, who looked so good as a 3-year-old when he won the Gotham here in New York. Back-to-back starts now, well, several times, but back-to-back starts. He has had just continually problem getting out of the gate. Yeah, it's not good. You just put yourself behind the 8 ball, and as Chris Hartman accurately pointed out, when you give fractions like that to a horse like Edge to Edge, he's going to get away with proverbial murder on the front end, and he did. And Morello just he has to stop doing that to be successful in the future. So, horse we may see in the big ones in that sprint division coming up down the meet here at Oaklawn. We shall see. The nightcap closing things out in Hot Springs. State bred, I almost said New York bred, Arkansas bred maiden special weight. 6 furlong sprint in here. And Ron Moquet's Chupapi Munyayo. What a name.
Nailed it.
Got off slow in that debut, kind of picking up pieces 3rd. What'd you think? I thought a legitimate race. I mean, you could see he was the only horse to launch any sort of bid. Running around the turn, he kind of came up just a touch flat towards the end, but rightfully so when the race more dominated and tilted to front-running horses in that race. So I like him in here, but obviously 3rd watch, 2, kind of ran the same sort of race first time out and goes out for Brad Cox, and he's your 9-5 favorite currently. Yeah, horse had a bit of a rough start early on, was dead last early. Rosario hops aboard for start number 2. We're going to take a timeout with a post-parade nightcap Oaklawn when we come back, and we'll be talking to this guy, Tom Amos. He's got Curly Jack on the Triple Crown Trail at Fairgrounds tomorrow, and he has a filly he thinks may be the best 3-year-old filly in the land. Hoosier filly, her 3-year-old debut, and the Rachel Alexandra coming up.
Here comes Malatha, here comes Clariere on the outside, and it's gonna be Clariere! Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths.
And Elite Power gets up to win the sprint. Outside it's Malatha coming to the wire. Who's it gonna be? Here's the wire. Oh, the wish has come true. That one's for you, Cody.
Would you believe that champions weren't measured by rings? but by a crown. That the history books were written on dirt. That the greatest of all time was a horse.
He is moving like a tremendous machine.
Experience the magic at this year's Belmont Stakes as we honor the 50th anniversary of Secretariat's legendary Triple Crown triumph. Join the celebration at Belmont Park on Saturday, June 10th. Tickets on sale now at BelmontStakes.com.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus buyer speed figures, a 3-time Grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
We are back on our FS2 coverage of America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part where you can play it all, Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. ABR Race of the Week coming up tomorrow from Oaklawn. Grade 3 Razorback, older horses, mile and a 16th, and some really older horses like one of our favorites, Rated R Superstar, 10-year-old, who ran third in that 5th season. Problem is, he's got to deal with Ginobili again, who beat him in that race. West Will Power, obviously extremely talented, and looks like he is going to be controlling up front for Brad Cox.
And doesn't it feel like there are several horses that want and could go in here, Greg? And obviously West Will Power is one of them. He was able to get through some pretty easy fractions here in this fight, I would say, at Keeneland, and then he came back and he ran okay in the Clark, but has that really proven to be that strong of a race? And he was the beaten favorite that day, and you got to feel like a horse like Ginobili is going to put some pressure on him, as well as a horse that's a bit of a long shot in hero status. He's not slow either. It could set things up for a horse that is either going to come from mid-pack or from well off it.
We'll see. It won back-to-back starts and a narrow defeat in that Clark. This will be a 6-year-old debut coming up for the Cox Barn. Joel Rosario will be aboard. Meanwhile, Ginobili, we saw him have a pretty easy time in the 5th season against the field he lined up against.
Yes, and he's a class horse as well, 6-year-old son of Munnings. But I know this wasn't I mean, I'm sure it's a logical step, obviously, for connections, but I remember when he won this 5th season, Peter Miller kind of on the fence as to were they going to run in this Razorback, because he's not convinced that he's a horse that gets better with more ground. Look, it's only half a furlong more, but I feel like he gets company up front here, and I mean, maybe he runs away with it, but are there some stamina question marks?
Big question mark for him, no question, with Ginobili in here. Meanwhile, Law Professor, Rob Atras, dominant win as a short price favorite in that Queens County to kick off his 5-year-old campaign.
Yeah, this was a good-looking score from him, and I think Rob has gone out to Oaklawn Park in preparation for this start in the Razorback, and this was a big field, but maybe not the toughest field, but again, this is a horse who's kind of held his own against some nice horses, such as Life is Good. And I don't think he completely disgraced himself either in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. So this was a nice start to this 5-year-old campaign, and he could be the one sitting the right kind of trip in here, Greg.
Obviously much deeper waters than what he dealt with. I thought it was actually a decent group, though, in that Queens County. But
I'm not saying it was. There's some horses that kind of lost their way, such as Thomas Shelby, and there's some horses that were kind of ascending the ladder. He just, at that moment, looked to be so much the best.
But no, and it had nothing to do with what you said, but this is it's a tougher group.
It's a tougher group. You know who I'm a little interested in? Last Samurai. Okay.
Why?
He's run well at Oaklawn before, and another one that did not disgrace himself in the Grade 1 Pegasus World Cup last time out, finishing 4th. And I just think he feels like he's rounding back into form, and I think he appreciates getting back to Oaklawn and a little bit of pace to run.
Yeah, I see. I don't think he's going to be 10-1 with that recent form. Yeah, he's probably going to take some money.
Yeah.
It's our ABR race of the week. Grade 3 Razorback. We still have the nightcap coming up. We'll have the post parade when we return. That's the horse to beat right now. 2-1 favorite, third watch. Brad Cox, Joel Rosario. Still going to talk to Tom Amos when we come back. Also, stay with us.
Eclipse champion Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Tom Amos.
Hey, Greg.
What's
Maggie,
up, man? How you doing?
Hey.
Hey, so just a quick heads up. Those silks are Gail Benson, owner of the Saints. Had Mo Tom, those horses. Anyhow, the break of the Derby is underneath those silks. That was Mo Tom's Derby. I'm sitting in her suite. So, and the hat.
Oh, okay.
Is the Hoosier Philly hat the owners are going to be wearing.
So you're at Fairgrounds right now, huh?
I am. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm at Fairgrounds. You're gonna have to tolerate some noise in the background, I'm afraid. Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's authentic.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races. Run for the Roses. We're getting closer and closer to that first Saturday in May, and here's the path in our immediate future. And the path in NOLA. Up next, Risen Star Fairgrounds. That is tomorrow, and that is where Curly Jack for Tom Amos will make his 3-year-old debut coming up in what is a wide open picture right now. Obviously, in this race, victory formation for Brad Cox going to take a ton of attention, bringing in that perfect 3-for-3 record.
Yeah, for me, he is the horse to beat. But other than that, I think this is wide open, as you were saying, Greg. And yeah, Curly Jack's interesting because he's the only horse who hasn't started as a 3-year-old. So I think we need to ask the man of the hour.
Well, let's do that. Tom, always great to see you. Good to have you on the program. Important weekend coming up for you. And 3-year-old debut, obviously big for both your filly, who we'll get to in a moment, and for Curly Jack. Got to be encouraged, though, with the way he ended his 2-year-old campaign and how that horse who has come back to win a little comp.
Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, Maggie. So with Curly Jack, he's a horse that has a lot of talent, but maybe a little bit of inconsistency. I thought his last race was his best in the Kentucky Jockey Club. He had traffic issues. The pace was slow. The horse that beat him that day, Instant Coffee, came back to win the LeCompte here at Fairgrounds. So Curly Jack's form was flattered that day, and he's training very forwardly for his 3-year-old debut. If I could make one comment about Curly Jack that I think is different now than it was as a 2-year-old, I think he's got a much better understanding of competition and learning how to compete himself. He's a come from behinder, a lot of traffic in a 14-horse field. Hopefully we get a good trip, and hopefully we get a nice fast pace up front that sets up his close. On paper, it looks like we get that.
You always talk about one of your handicapping things as a trainer is your insight that first to that second start, horses get so much better. But also horses from 2 to 3 can make a big leap as well. What have you seen from him that's shown you that he's taken a bit of a leap now as a 3-year-old?
Well, he's a bigger, stronger version of himself than he was at 2. He took a small break after his last race at the end of November, spent the month of December being a horse, turning out every day, grazing in the fields at Woodford Farm in Ocala, Florida, and then came back into training. He seems very focused. I like what I see in the racetrack. His preparation's been quite good, and you can follow it along on Twitter. There's quite a few videos posted of him either working or training.
Tom, I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed in the fact that you're not dressed up for Mardi Gras.
Wait till Tuesday.
I know. Tom has the best outfits, let me tell you. But I do want to get to your star filly. Who's your filly? Tom, why have you compared her so easily to Serengeti Empress? What has she shown you? Obviously, she's been devastating in her 3 career starts. But what is she like in training? What is she like around the barn that warrants that accreditation?
Well, first of all, I almost feel sacrilegious saying about Serengeti Empress because she's by far my favorite horse of all time, the most accomplished horse I've ever had. But what makes Who's Your Filly special is not only how she prepared, but the ease with which she's won her races. When she comes to the head of the stretch, the outcome has been determined, and she's going to win. And we have not really let her run down the lane in her 2 route races or 2 stakes wins. So we really don't know just how fast she is down the lane. Now, in fairness, this race tomorrow is a much different and better group of horses than she's faced in the past. So she's going to need to have her running shoes on, and she's going to need to be the same horse she was before she took a small break, just like Curly Jack did, to get ready for her 3-year-old campaign.
Now, Tom, her form heading into this Rachel Alexandra is littered with bullet workouts. And watching her in her races, she just seems as though she covers more ground naturally with her stride than any of the rest of her competition.
That's well put. That's exactly what she does. She's got a huge stride, a very high cruising speed, and she can carry it around the ground. So the works that you see on paper, a lot can be read into bullet work, but to view them, to watch them, which again, on Twitter, you can look at them. She's doing it with the greatest of ease. That's what's really encouraging. That's what she showed before she ever started to, before she ever made her first start, I praised her publicly. I like to be very transparent with the public if I can, and this group has allowed me to do that, this ownership group. But maybe I've painted myself into a corner as far as that goes. So, I don't mean to do that, but I certainly want to be as transparent as I can. And I just think she's the best that we've had come through our barn. And hopefully she shows us that in her 3-year-old campaign.
I love that. I mean, we've seen the interviews with you after she's won races, and it's almost like you're getting emotional because she has that kind of talent. Hopefully we would love to see that going forward. But I guess my question is, how do you prepare as a trainer? Have you mapped out a whole plan as far as getting to the Kentucky Oaks, whether you get there or not?
Yeah, she's easy. She's very straightforward, very intelligent, very laid back, and is a horse that follows all the commands of the rider. So preparing her for the race is easy. Riding her is easy. The thing that you're seeing after those races, Greg, believe it or not, and it's a shame it's like this, but again, there's been so much hype built up about her that when she runs, it's almost a relief after the races if she runs well, rather than just joy. Of course, we're happy, but like I said, maybe I've built this horse up a little bit too much, and afterwards, it's just a big sigh of relief, and that's probably the emotion you're seeing from me.
So it's gonna be a sleepless night tonight, I'm taking.
To match the last 4 I've had, yes. Typically, people count sheep at night. Well, typically, no matter how many times I've gone through in my head, have we done everything we need to do to get this horse ready to run? If we missed anything, I'll wake up 1, 2 in the morning, and it'll start going through my head. Even though I know that we've done everything we're supposed to, and I've gone through this before, I'll start doing it again and again. And it's a little bit it's a little bit stressful, to be quite honest.
Well, it's dark here. I'm sure it's getting somewhat dark there, and these races will be run under the lights. Is there any concern with you? Obviously, Curly Jack, he's kind of done it before. So, any concern with night racing with either of your two?
No, I don't think so. I'm recalling back in November, and I think for her as well as him, those races were late in the afternoon in late November, and the time hadn't changed yet, or if it did, it was still getting dark a lot sooner up there. So I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Well, I know it's going to be a restless night. Maybe just stay where you are. You got a pretty good suite you're hanging in right now.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Really looking forward to it, and really hoping that she stands behind what she's already accomplished and runs well tomorrow.
Tom, we always wish you the best, and looking forward to see how it plays out tomorrow. Tom Amos, our guest, Mr. 4000. I actually was there with him when we got that 4,000th win last summer, Saratoga. Looking forward to the next 1,000 for Tom. Incredibly high on Hoosier Philly. He said she's the best he's ever had.
Yeah.
We'll find out how her 3-year-old season begins tomorrow.
I'm excited for her. She's just doing it so easily. You don't often see that with a young horse like that, and for her to come back. And, like I said, Victory Formation, much the horse to beat. But outside of him, Curly Jack, some of these horses that are players are running the figures that he was running now as a 3-year-old as he was as a 2-year-old. So if he takes another step forward, he's right there with Victory Formation.
Got to be tough knowing especially when you have one of the horses to beat too, and as high as he's talked about Hoosier Philly, and for that matter, horse on the Triple Crown Trail with Curly Jack, to get some rest and
it's
not just
happening.
think about it.
Furthermore, it's
constantly.
Mardi Gras week, and there's parades, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, and so he's also and. Being married to a trainer, I know that you wake up in the middle of the night and think about those issues, and they seem insurmountable at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then when you wake up and get to the barn, you're like, oh, this is fine. I got this. So I feel you, Tom.
Big Saturday coming up on the road to the Oaks and Derby for Tom Amos. We're going to get you to Oaklawn right now. Nightcap coming up. Let's get their post parade for you. It's in progress. We're going to pick it up from moments ago. And quick look at the board there. It's still third watch, the 12. Brad Cox, Joel Rosario favorite at 2-1. Here's the 1. Cadillac Cowboy Joe Sharp.
I mean, it's Joe Sharp, so there's every reason to believe that he could move forward, but he's going to have to move forward big time.
Gosh,
Greg.
took a lot of money first time out. They've completely abandoned this horse.
Yeah, I mean, 15-1. He looks good. He looks like a massive horse, Arkansas bred.
Imperial Shadow. Start number 2, blinkers go on.
Taking this one from the coach, just ran very evenly. They're hoping for more speed. Maybe he needs more distance at the end of the day.
Outlaw Run has done very little running.
Though faced a tougher crew in his last start against Open.
Traffic Boss, look, pedigree here. Dan actually produced a stakes winner, Bird of Trey, multiple stakes winner.
And have to a nice New York bred, out of trouble, though she was better on the turf.
Lake Hamilton. Carl Broberg, blinkers on, Lasix, went by.
I thought he was very interesting.
Here's the 6.
Ron Manyayo!
Well
it's just
said.
so fun to say.
Slow start in the debut. See if can break better today. This 7 had a little bit of pedigree too. Dan produced a first out winner, Big Money Mike, although started winning on synthetic early on in the career. The Dan was a 15-time winner, second dam I should say.
Yeah, pedigree.
47-1 on the 8, and here's the 9 Ready Shoes.
Yeah, Ready Shoes faced Open Company. Ran a figure that would make him very competitive here. So I think one that you have to pay attention to, and is currently 5-1.
First-time starter Matt Mardigan, the 10.
Yeah, this one doesn't have much pedigree, Greg.
At 24-1, being bet like it does not. Rudiano at 63-1.
Again, I mean, I don't want to be rude about Rudiano, but has little chance.
And third watch, the money going here for the Brad Cox second-time starter.
I mean, I was watching this horse in the paddock, and he looks like the horse to beat. And you would have to think he broke slow last time from a more inside post position. And I think looking at him, given the outside, he breaks better today. And I mean, he was still running at the end. He was steady for halfway down the stretch behind traffic. And once he got a seam towards the inside, he ran on again. So for me, I don't see any reason not to take this favorite.
Yeah, looks like a legitimate, deserving 2-1 favorite here. Let's get Paul LaDuca's take.
Yeah, I would be in agreement with Maggie here. And Joel Rosario actually took the horse immediately away from the pony, and he was warming up pretty aggressively. So I would think they're going to try to blast out of there and obviously get a better break. Maggie hit the nail on the head. This horse just did everything wrong. I mean, just sort of broke slow and got caught in a little bit of traffic and then ran on better. Does get a not an ideal draw in the 12-0, but if this horse can break a little bit better, he's definitely the one to beaten here. Ready Shoes, the 9. For Milton Wilson, this is a horse by Prom Shoes that is taking a little bit of money. Drew the rail first time out, which is tough to do for a first-time starter. Got blinkers last time. I thought ran a little bit better. So I thought the 9 was a player in here. Very interesting in here. I actually picked the 6 on top, Chupapi Maneo. And, this is a horse that has one eye. He broke slow in his debut, and he come rolling home. And I thought it was actually a pretty good effort in that area. He was 12.5 to 1. With the better break, I would think he's going to be right there in the mix. If you look at the double wheel pace, he's about even with the Brad Cox runner. And then the 7 in here, Ike Wazowski, for all you Monster Inc. fans, Mike Wazowski had one eye. And yes, the 7 has one eye as well. This first-time starter by Painter is actually taking a little bit of money. Looked tremendous on the racetrack. So we have 2 one-eyed wonders with the 6 and the 7 in here. I always remembered Pollard's Vision being one of the best with one eye, and they can run still with them. So it's going to be very interesting what happens here. Jonathan, I know you might be chanting 10 strike, 10 strike, 10 strike.
Wow, Paulie, that's 3 of them. It is Friday night, so it's a lot safer to do than like a Sunday night, right? People got school and work on Monday, but on a Friday you could probably get away with throwing in a couple extra 10 strikes. Speaking of 10 strike, they are leading the owner title at Oaklawn Park, so I'll be rooting for Third Watch in order for Marshall and Clay and their partners to win a meet that I know has been so dear to them and makes sense on paper. Probably a little bit overbet with the Brad Cox effect, but I thought the 7 Ike Wazowski was interesting as well. This is a horse taking a little bit of money for a trainer that doesn't have a win at the meet, but this trainer has won with first-time starters. Has come out with 21. Ike Green has 21 first-time starters in his career. 3 of them have won. 5 of them have run second. It seems like Ike knows how to get one ready to run first time out. And like you mentioned, for a horse that could basically be any price based on the connections, the fact that this horse is taking the money that they are, I think is a little bit interesting. So I'll be rooting for 10 strike. I think the 7, Ike Wazowski, a little bit interesting.
That's 6 shots everybody just took if they're playing the drinking game.
Can we get a bottle up here?
Yeah, I know. Real quick, JK, we want to hear you say the name of the 6.
You guys haven't seen that on TikTok? I can't do it. I'll try.
Oh my God, I'm so old. I don't know what he's talking about.
It's just like a really high pitched. It's a real high pitched. This little guy, this guy creeps up behind people in the grocery store, and he in a very high pitched voice he says "Chupapi Muñeño" in their ear, and then they get mad and they chase him around the store. It's very funny, to be honest with you.
Did you know about this?
Did not.
I mean,
I had no idea.
That's why we have to have a 13, or I forget how old Austin is, but we have to have somebody like that age.
Austin needs his own room with a camera, too. Here is that start, that compromise beginning for Chupapi Mayo.
Oh, God. Well, he kind of did it. I mean, he was creeping up on everybody, running through this field. So, if anything, given the fact that they kind of had similar beginnings to their races between Chupapi Maneo and Third Watch, I thought Third Watch at the end of the day did a bit more running at the end. This guy was just kind of staying on evenly. So I think that's where we see the difference in prices. Possibly, look, they're going to be first and second choice no matter which way we split this. But if you don't like either of them, as you guys were saying, Ike Wazowski does have that interesting pedigree. Traffic Boss, even, who's a huge price.
Yeah, we both think the 4. I mean, 34 to 1 on the 4. The Dam actually started 2 for 3. Was a stakes winner.
She was a Louisiana bred. It's so funny. They've taken this Dam to every single state bred program. She was a Louisiana bred. She had 2 PA bred. She had New York bred. Now she has an Arkansas bred. and a half, as you said, to that PA bred stakes winner. So, and I mean, I know Alan Milligan's having a slow meet, but this guy can win races at Oaklawn.
And there's no killers that really scary in this race. I mean, the 12, we agree, the one to beat off that debut with a better beginning. But a kind of race where someone could step up and potentially shock you at a price in here. And we'll see if it's Traffic Boss, if that other first time of the 7 can make an impact. Of those who have run, the other ones in here. I mean, obviously the 6 we talked about. Anyone else grab you a little bit?
Well, what about the 9? I mean, is a little chilly on the board. I know it hasn't. I mean, maybe we can just forgive for the first start, which did finish behind Chupapi Maneo. But
a lot went wrong there, too.
Yeah, and faced a world of different horses last time out and improved his buyers. So why can't, and attracts Ricardo Santana to the irons this time around. This horse at 6-1 is a viable option in the face of the 2 favorites.
Left your screen. It was 7-2 morning line. It's hard to really go off morning lines at Oaklawn because it's rare they're going to be that price. But at 6-1, the horse is playable.
And with huge prices, albeit in both of those previous starts. So taking the worst of it actually at 6-1 currently. But still, I think did enough running last time out to warrant a look here.
Down to 8-5. Meanwhile, on third watch. So solid favoritism to that runner who looks like, I mean, as you said, too, even beyond the wire, that horse was running.
Yeah.
And a horse that beat him actually had come in with, one of them was at Delta Downs, but one of them was at Oaklawn, back-to-back very good seconds against a similar company. So we will see if Third Watch can get it done, or one of these first-timers like the 4 or 7 can make an impact. Nightcap from Oaklawn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Lake Hamilton broke well, so did KJ's Legacy. Cadillac Cowboy at the rail on the move to the front. Imperial Shadow is next. Then to the outside and Rudiano with Third Watch, Ready Shoes, and Chupapi Monyayo and Imperial Shadow. Next, it's Outlaw Run, followed by Traffic Boss, and the trailer up the backstretch is Mad Mardigan. It is Imperial Shadow and Cadillac Cowboy, and these 2 match strides. Imperial Shadow a neck in front. Cadillac Cowboy is a second. Now moving and taking the lead is Ike Wazowski, and Ike Wazowski has cleared off, and now he's 2 lengths in front of Cadillac Cowboy in second. 2 lengths to Chupapi Manyayo, who joins and passes Lake Hamilton. Moving on the outside is Third Watch, and here's Third Watch up into a joint third. Meanwhile, first-time starter Ike Wazowski is the boss at the top of the stretch. He's got a 3-length lead, but now Chupapi Manyayo is right alongside and right on by. New leader, Chupapi Manyayo, now 3 in front. Ike Wazowski is second. Then comes Rudiano to the outside in Third Watch, but it's Chupapi Manyayo now just opening up, and he's just running away. Ike Wazowski on debut tries to hold second from Rudiano. Chupapi Manyayo. Chupapi Manyayo won by about 10 lengths. It might be a dead heat for second between Rudiano and Ike Wazowski. Third Watch finished 4th.
Ike Wazowski, first-timers winning a big race, but here comes the Poppy.
Chupapi Manyayo, as he was much the best. I mean, Third Watch was really disappointing. He didn't break great again, and then was just kind of sent on that wide chase in no man's land, and just
margin.
I mean, Vic called it by 10 lengths, and I'm not saying he's too far off, because this horse just won so easily, and a lot of separation too. Ike Wazowski running well there, setting the pace, and then who came flying late? Rudiano? I thought that horse had no chance whatsoever, and I think he may have gotten third.
Take a look.
Ooh,
Wow.
May have gotten second. Yikes. Poor Rudiano. I was rude about him.
Last 2 starts had not beat a horse, Rudiano.
I mean, he was beaten by over 75 lengths in his last 2 starts.
And may have got second, but Chupapi Manyayo 5-2, your winner to close out this card. Well, the prices when we come back after this timeout. Stay with us.
War Dancer. The momentum continues with recent stakes winners on turf and dirt. Dancing Buck going wire to wire in the Grade 3 Belmont Turf.
Dancing Buck has opened up on the field. It is Dancing Buck by a half dozen lengths.
And 2-year-old filly War Saichi with a wire-to-wire win in the Ladyfinger Stakes.
War Saichi asserted her authority immediately out of the starting gate, and she has not relinquished the lead.
War Dancer, the #1 third crop turf sire in North America. Proud to stand in New York.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa, the nightcap at Oaklawn. In the books with this one. Second time out for Chupapi Manyayo. We're keeping our eyes on who finished second in here. It was very close between the 7 or 11. The 11 went off at 122 to 1. It actually is Ike Wazowski who finishes second, so 6, 7, 11 trifecta.
So, as Paul correctly called, only 2 eyes between the top 2 horses in here, the 2 one-eyed horses. But yeah, Rudiano, it looked like he did achieve second place honors here, but he would settle for third at 122 to 1. But no doubt about your winner, Chupapi Manyayo. Ramo Quet continues a very nice Oaklawn meet, his backyard, as he likes to say. So it's good to see. And this guy took a big step forward in his second start.
Yeah, there he is. Picture time. Southern Springs Stables own this 3-year-old. Wins second time out, and the favorite for Brad Cox, third watch. Winds up fourth, not really a factor in here. No one was a factor except for your winner.
Yeah, exactly. But a good start, first start for Ike Wazowski.
Rafael Bejarano aboard for the win. And card in the books.
Can't compute the prices because of that Rudiano.
So it's not working. It
blew up.
It blew it out. That's what 122 to 1 shot will do.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting to ring that bell today.
What is the ring the bell? Is that just for the winners? Oh, they donate part of the purse.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, we've been seeing that a lot today. Very nice.
Love it.
We're going to try and get to Paulie in just a little bit and wrap up that race. We had a fun Friday of action here. We're going to get even more fun. It's going to be a great Saturday. We have an early stake on the card at Aqueduct. Heavenly Prize, race 3. I know it's a small field, but interested to see this rematch with Falconet, Battle Bling. You're going to throw Frost Point in the mix as well, we'll get to. But Falconet for Todd Pletcher, outside post tomorrow, and handled Battle Bling by 2 lengths when they last met.
Yeah, you know, Battle Bling was put in a bit of an uncomfortable, I've had a lot of trouble with that word today for some reason, position. Just down on the inside, you can see she kind of has her ears pinned, her head's up. She's just not loving it, and really she would love to be the horse on the front end. I think she does do her best running when she can be on the engine, but she obviously doesn't need that to be competitive. Look, she gets shuffled all the way back to nearly last year, and Kendrick's going to have to get her out in the clear to try to run down a horse who has already made it to the lead in Falconet. So I think Battle Bling does deserve another shot here, because to me, she may have run the best race even though she finished second.
See what happens in the rematch. So Falconet, Battle Bling, they will go head-to-head once again. And you got Frostpoint, too, coming in off that nice win off the layoff for Bill Mott, who draws the rail.
Yeah, she does. She is a bit interesting. She will have to up her game, but yes, as a now 5-year-old, she could.
Got a long one tomorrow. We are on beginning at 12:30 Eastern start time tomorrow. FS2 coverage until 6:30. We hope to see you then. It was a fun Friday afternoon. Downtown Mischief might have a future. Big performance for Lady Sheila Stable, Linda Rice, Jose Lezcano, now 2 for 2 to start her career. Edge to edge has become maybe a major factor in the Midwest in the sprint division with another big effort, beating CZ Rocket and Ginobili. We will see on Saturday in the Razorback, our ABR race of the week. We'll see you at 12:30 tomorrow.